Let's get nasty on a Friday. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Carey Davis and Bradford Bruns pinch hitting today for Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter. Jamie will be with us live from Seattle in a little bit. He's at the rink right now gathering some intel, no doubt, on tonight's Blues and Kraken game. And the Kraken, interesting matchup tonight, especially with the way the Blues have been playing. They had the 4-3 victory Wednesday at the league-leading Vancouver Canucks as Braden Shen scored at 1:54 of overtime, and then you had the previous win against the Flames. So the road trip continues, and that's going to be an interesting matchup. So we'll talk about the Blues and Kraken game when Jamie joins us in the 3 o'clock hour. We're also going to talk a little Cardinals today, our mic drop theme, if you would. 4 weeks from tomorrow,
What happens?
spring training will be here.
Is that soon?
Who's got the most to prove? You could do a position player. You could do Ollie. You could do one player. You could do the entire damn organization.
Yeah, todos. All. Everyone.
Is that what it? Todos?
Todos. Everyone. Everything.
I only know piso mojado.
Piso mojado.
Yeah, and un sacapuntas. Yeah, piso mojado is, of course, wet floor. You see that a lot.
You know I don't speak Spanish.
On the signs. You see piso mojado on the signs. And un sacapuntas, pencil sharpener. Just sounded dirty when I was taking Spanish.
You learned
and
that.
then retaking it. And then retaking it again. They say that's the easiest language. I didn't feel that way.
Well, English is the hardest language.
Sure. Got it.
Knife definitely
Kind of.
makes sense.
The key is starting at that young age, guys. Anthony, your kiddos. I mean, hey,
Yeah.
get them going. They're probably speaking Spanish all around the household right now, aren't
Sure,
they?
maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Possibly.
So who has the most to prove? So you leave us a mic drop via the 101 ESPN app. Who's got the most to prove as we're 4 weeks from tomorrow away from spring training? Of course, it's championship Sunday weekend.
Oh, man.
Can't wait for these two matchups. They're going to be fantastic. I think both games are going to be close. That's not saying a whole lot. But the more I look at this Kansas City Baltimore matchup, and I know we've got a lot of Chiefs fans in the area. You're not going to like me saying this, but I hate the fact that Isaiah Pacheco is still banged up here. I think the key to victory for them, Carey, is going to be running the football. If Baltimore does have a weakness, it's their run defense. They play a very light box because Mike McDonald likes to utilize he likes to disguise his blitzes and things. A lot of times you're going to face a lighter box.
Yeah.
Will Andy Reid stick with the run? Will Pacheco be healthy? Will Pacheco be effective? You might get one of those things. I don't know if you're going to get all three ahead of Sunday.
That is the tough part. I mean, Andy Reid has done a better job of, running the football in times where they need to. If Pacheco is banged up and it's a toe injury, correct? If it's turf toe, I've had a couple of injuries that I think are some of the worst injuries that you could have. One is a bruised tailbone. I highly do not recommend at all. It's terrible. The other one is a turf toe, because you don't realize how much you need your toe until you can't push off of it. And, it's a lot of pain. So if he's dealing with that, if he's dealing with some pain in that, I mean, obviously you get the good meds. I tell you about that pregame. Go in the room, get taken care of, you're good to go. But depends on how well or how sore it really is. If it's painful to the point where even the medicine doesn't help, that could be a problem. That could be problematic for the Chiefs.
And Carey, given Pacheco's brutal style, his ability to be that vicious cutter, doesn't it play even more of a factor in the Chiefs' approach?
Yeah, he picks him up and puts him down. I mean, you enjoy watching him run the football because every single run, he runs the ball like this is his last run ever. Like that's what makes
him fun.
That's it. Like this could be if this is the first and only time you'll ever see me, this is going to be the hardest run you've ever seen. That's how he runs the ball every single time. I, for one, appreciate that because, some guys can take a carry off or take a play off. I'm not nothing. Okay, I'm getting down. He runs the football like I may never get another chance to run this football again. And that, to me, is a thing of beauty.
Deebo Samuel, and by the way, Isaiah Pacheco did return to practice today, but he is dealing with ankle and toe issues. It sounds like he's going to play. Joe Thuney is the other injury there that the Chiefs might have some concerns with. I highly doubt that he doesn't play. Like I see Joe Thuney suiting up for that one.
Everybody's playing. Everyone's available. Everyone, if they can go, will go. Whatever issues you're having, I mean, you'll get 2 weeks off after this weekend's game. And so you'll figure out a way to make something happen this weekend. And then you'll figure out how to make something happen. If you're fortunate enough to play in the Super Bowl, you'll figure out how to make it happen then as well.
And that applies to Deebo Samuel. So the latest on Deebo Samuel is that NFC Championship game is the second kickoff on Championship Sunday. It's now down to whether or not he can tolerate the pain on Sunday with the shoulder injury, which I'm sure he's going to give it a go.
That's all these injuries are. How much pain can you tolerate? That's essentially what football is, especially, week 13 and on. How much pain can you withstand? Because after a while, it doesn't matter. No one's healthy. You get a shoulder injury. I told you there's a needle that they can stick in that AC joint that'll relieve all of that pain. And so it's about pain tolerance. Can you mentally get over the pain? Because it's going to hurt like hell. It's going to hurt while you're playing. It's going to hurt when you get done. But the satisfaction that you get from being able to call yourself a world champion, there is nothing that can replace that. So these men will, I'm sure Deebo is going to play. How effective will he be? I don't know. The first time he get hit on that shoulder, it might be too much.
And
but he's going to play.
Even though I don't think any of us would argue here that of the remaining 4 teams, Detroit possesses the weakest defense across the board. The fact of the matter is that the 49ers this season, that proof is in the proverbial pudding. 30-plus points per game with Deebo in the lineup. The handful of games he has missed, 18. He is that much of a different playmaker there.
Yeah, he's that chess piece that you want to. He spreads everything out, right? Like if you want to play positionless football, you can use Deebo in a variety of ways. We've talked about this. You can line him up out wide. You can line him in the slot. You can line him up in the backfield. And the defense continues to look at different formations, and the 49ers will run similar plays. So they'll just throw different variations at you. Right. It's the same thing with Christian McCaffrey. Detroit has a really good run defense. To think that Christian McCaffrey, one, isn't going to be heavily involved, and two, is going to be somehow shut down, forget it. They'll use him in a variety of ways. Yeah. Christian McCaffrey is perfect playing out of the slot, quite frankly, in Kyle Shanahan's offense. But if you take Deebo out of it, they still have Kittle. They still have Ayuk. They still have, Jennings played well last week. None of them are Deebo Samuel from the standpoint of you can move him around, that movable piece that allows the other players to do their thing.
They put Juwan Jennings in the backfield to get a carry last week, and I forget who was doing the game, but it's like, I'm certain he didn't do that in practice this week. That was a play for Deebo Samuel. It changes. It just changes so many things when a great player, one of your best players, is out. And so if Deebo is unable to, like I said, I'm sure he's going to play, but how much can he play? It will impact that offense because they do so much. When you're able to move a receiver into the backfield and the receiver and the running back out to the slot, you now know what coverage they're in. They're in zone. It makes life easier, and so you can figure out where the ball needs to go based on the coverage. If you move them out of the back, because you're not going to put a corner in the box because they will run the ball with Deebo Samuel. So obviously it's not man-to-man. So it just changes. They do so much with their formations and with their schemes. If Deebo Samuel is unable to play, it will impact them.
The kickoff of both games, 2 o'clock is the Chiefs-Ravens AFC Championship, and then 5:30. And who knows? I mean, if they get overtime in the first game, this is a movable object here. But 5:30 is the kickoff for the NFC Championship between the Lions and the 49ers. We will have some official picks by the time we sign off today. We'll talk about maybe some prop plays that we like, things like that throughout the course of the show. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. All right, Cardinals, we asked for your mic drops. 4 weeks from tomorrow is spring training, the opening of spring training. Who's got the most to prove in your eyes? We'll give you ours. You send in your mic drops, and we'll do that throughout the course of the show as well. Again, it's Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN has your chance to win a pair of VIP tickets for the Gateway Warrior Classic All-Star Game, featuring the Blues alumni versus the Warrior All-Stars. Facing off on Friday night, February 9th at Centene Community Ice Center. General admission tickets for the game are on sale now for just $10, with VIP tickets also available. Get all the details and get entered to win that pair of free VIP tickets for the Gateway Warrior Classic All-Star Game right now, either at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 mobile app.
Two pros and one average show. You're listening to The Fast Lane on 101 ESPN, driven by Scrap Mart Metals Recycling.
So we asked today throughout the course of the show, Fast Lane on 101 ESPN, with spring training a week from tomorrow, or 4 weeks from tomorrow, who's got the most to prove? Leave us a mic drop. I'm interested to know your thoughts. Because you can take this in a variety of ways. You can hone in on one individual player. It's not the route I'm going to go. You can also just hone in on one individual, whether it's Mo or Ali. You go that route. Talk about the entire pitching set. Whatever it is that you want to highlight, what is going to be the position group or maybe the player that will have the most to prove when we're talking about spring training coming up in 4 weeks or so. What about for you, Carey?
I think it's a simple answer for me, and it's going to have to be the person that they signed to be the ace of this staff, Sonny Gray. I mean, not that he hasn't proven enough in his career, but coming over and being coming over from Minnesota and being the player that everyone has been last year, what didn't go at all like you thought it would. So being the player that you signed to be your number one, to be your ace, to be your opening day starter, I think he has the most to prove because that's the position that was most in need last year.
What about for you, Bradford?
Carey, I thought you were going to go out on a limb there and say bringing in Blake Snell, for example. The ace hasn't arrived as of yet. Wishful thinking, right? Wishful thinking. I will go in a different direction insofar as I think this is not an individual who's going to be in danger of missing the opening day roster should he have a subpar spring training. But I firmly believe that you need to see some consistency, a lot of consistency, especially at the plate, from one Mason Wynn, because if you are truly handing over the reins defensively, offensively, if you're trying to, I think, cultivate that new identity for your lineup, and make no mistake about it, I was on a couple of weeks ago with Alex and BK midday show, and we were talking about how no other team, no other contending team, you can make the argument in the National League, is relying on so many older linchpins on offense. Goldschmidt, 36, obviously aging. Arenado now 32. Even Contreras is 31. So that next wave, so to speak, Nootbaar, Walker, and specifically a guy like Mason Wynn. You want to see him hit well enough and hit well enough in spring so that he's not carrying that albatross basically going into the year, because you know the defense is going to be there. Mm-hmm. But if you're hitting him at the bottom part of the lineup, he's able to get on base specifically enough. I don't care about the average. I want to see him getting on base so that he can utilize that speed. To me, that needs to begin when it comes to next month.
This is one of those questions that really doesn't have a bad answer when you're coming off of the season that the Cardinals had a year ago. But I am going to go to the front office. I'm going to go Mo. I think Mo is the most to prove. Now, he's not going to be able to prove it on the field, but we can sit here and talk all we want about Ali and what he does and what he does with the lineup and what he does with his bullpen decisions and all that. That's certainly a factor. But there's only so much he can do with the roster that is at his disposal. Mm. He might be the chef, and he still needs to, at the end of the day, he's got to cook up a good meal for everybody. But what are the ingredients that he's allowed to use? Yeah. And if you're Mo and you're saying, horrible season last year, we know we have to do a whole bunch of things with the pitching staff, I'm going to bring in Sonny Gray, Lance Lynn, and Kyle Gibson because they're going to eat innings, and we're going to focus more on that part of the game, or that part of the pitching, right, where everybody else is saying, innings, we're okay with if you go 5 and dive, but we're going to bring in these guys. Well, they better work out. You're kind of out of time here. And if it doesn't work out, are you going to be patient, or are you going to strike knowing that you didn't do enough in the offseason again?
Is it fair to say that what Mo had to prove is already done. Like the hay is in the barn. There is nothing else. I mean, the guys have to perform because you brought them here, but what more could he do in terms of other than maybe adding somebody else?
Right.
But they're not going to do that because they've said it.
No, it's a good question. So I would still put it on Mo.
Okay.
Because if you bring in these guys, you bring in these veterans, or you roll the dice again on Steven Matz, and it's not panning out, what are you going to do about it? You still have internal options. What moves you're going to make in season if things start to slip from you? And do you have your thumb on the pulse here, your finger on the pulse, to know I have got to make a move that is going to change the direction of where we're going here in 2024?
If we have to make that move, it's going to be another long season.
But it's part of it, right?
You have to. Well, I think if you have to veer off the path because you're clearly going in the wrong direction, the move should be more along, just an easy. Oh, you know what? The exit is coming up. We'll get off here. But if you have to pass the exit and put it in reverse, oh crap! Oh,
right.
Get over from 4 lanes to try to get off on the exit.
Go in the ditch.
Yeah. Like that to me is an example of you weren't prepared and you didn't do it right to start.
But don't miss the exit. Don't miss the. Don't fly past it then. All right. Don't fly past it and then say, we're screwed. You better than go into the ditch or do whatever you have to do. Because last year it went sideways and you still had. I mean,
no, Anthony. They were going the wrong way. They were going east. They should have been going west. Like, they were going north and should have been going south. They were.
And now they've got other pieces to say we're heading back in the right direction. Well, are you? Because if you can recognize that you're not, and then you didn't do enough in the offseason again, there are no excuses.
Yeah.
This is the third offseason in which you said we're good. We got our needs met. Solid. Let's go. Let's roll. Let's play some ball. Last year was frustrating. This year I'm gonna be pissed.
So, are you based off of spring training? Will that give you a glimpse, or do you need to see?
No.
Do you need to see how this first month of the season plays out? Because to start the season, they got some heavy hitters.
Exactly.
To start the season off. So if you're not able to have success in the first 3 series. You got LA, you got San Diego, you got Miami. Let's go the first 4 series. LA, San Diego, Miami, Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. If you're not successful or at least at or above 500 at that point, you are what? So
I realize this is a bit arbitrary, but you'll know it when you know it.
Okay.
I'm gonna do the unfair thing.
Okay.
But I'm gonna do it for a reason. I'm not gonna say, yeah, you got 15 games, or yeah, you got 30 games. You know it when you know it. You know what I did or did not do is gonna lead to failures, and I've got to make a move, not a panic move, but one that's with urgency. And it may just be Steven Matz relegated to the pen and bringing up one of these young guys that had a good spring training, or that you recognize can give you a spark. I don't want to see them sit on their hands, wait until the All-Star break or the trade deadline, and then start to make moves if what they did do in the offseason bears out in the first month of the season or so.
And frankly, is that not what you want in terms of internal developments anyway? You mentioned, Anthony, let's just say that for whatever reason, first month of the season, Carey, you stated there's no luxury here of easing into the schedule. You have the Dodgers, you have the Padres, okay, up in the air, but thereafter, how about the Philadelphia Phillies and the Arizona Diamondbacks? There is no real margin here for error in terms of sliding behind in the standings. So if you have not acquired the requisite guys you need in the rotation to be dominant, okay, you were able to acquire bodies. That's wonderful. But let's say that Steven Matz does blow up, or you're not able to see the consistency you would like from him. It's not a bad thing if in spring training somebody like a Zach Thompson, who gave you a shot in the arm, a necessary one in the second half of last season, if he shows out, great. And that's where I do think you can take some tangible results from spring action, because if you're seeing that specifically from somebody like a Zach Thompson, you're going to need him at one point or another this year.
First of all, great point. Look, this isn't a novel concept here. Brendan Donovan had a nice spring training. He parlayed that into a spot on the roster, and then parlayed that into a successful rookie season. Tommy Edman came up. I don't know quite when it was. It might have been July or something at maybe 2019 when he came up. And when he did, he made an impact. This isn't a crazy idea here that I'm coming up with. It's like, well, we need to make an early move. This is, quite frankly, this is what the Brewers do incredibly well. When we got John Lester and Jay Happ at the deadline, the Brewers made the deal for Willy Adames like a month and a half before that. Mm-hmm. You don't have to wait to the deadline. I think, quite frankly, there's not enough urgency sometimes with the Cardinals. And I like the fact that when the offseason started, Mo had those 2 signings done almost immediately. I like that aspect of it. Can you have that sense of urgency during the regular season too? I haven't seen it a lot from them.
They feel more like a crock pot team as opposed to a microwave.
You're absolutely right.
Hey,
but coming off the last year, you better get that crock. You better put the crock pot away.
You got to let it stew for 5 hours, Anthony. You don't
fire up the grill. Puppy's going to get hot. Let's go. Not waiting 12 hours.
It takes some time
for
man.
the meal. For quite frankly, a meal that tastes the same.
It tastes so much better when you let it sit there and
any
marinate.
chicken. Listen, I'll fight people on this. Any chicken crockpot recipe that always tastes the same, and save it too. If you're like, oh no, you haven't tried my white bean chicken chili. I don't care.
Let them cook.
If it's a chicken recipe, it's out of a crock pot. They all taste the same. Sorry. All right. Yeah. Now that we got that out of the way. Bradford, are we getting some mic drops?
Slowly but surely.
All right, so bring them on in. We're going to do this throughout the course of the show today. It's our mic drop theme. 4 weeks from tomorrow, the Cardinals will open up spring training. Who has the most to prove in spring training, or just, I use the approach with Mo of like early in the season. Mm-hmm. He's got something to prove. Leave us a mic drop. Again, we'll do that throughout the course of the show today. Bill Belichick is probably not going to get a head coaching job this season. And some of the reports from the fallout in Atlanta tell us why. That's next on 101 ESPN.
Coverage of 101 ESPN is presented by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. GetJim.com.
Congratulations to Nick Popick from Energy, Illinois. He was just named this week's 101 ESPN Blues Fan of the Week.
Submit your pick now at 101ESPN.com to be the next Fan of the Week. Taking home Blues tickets and a $50 Buffalo Wild Wings gift card. 101 ESPN's Blues Fan of the Week is brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings, official member of This Bar Bleeds Blue, presented by Bud Light. Party with Tim McKernan and Action Jackson. Weekdays from 10 to 11 a.m. on 101 ESPN. The fastest hour of sports radio is driven by Munganast and Burkhardt Alton Toyota. 101 ESPN Sports Center.
Blues get cracking in the Pacific Northwest. I'm Bradford Bruns with your SportsCenter update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. On the heels of a 4-3 overtime victory over West Best Vancouver, St. Louis drops the puck in Seattle tonight. Pre-game kicking off at 8 p.m. right here with Alex Ferrario. Drew Bannister's team has actually captured 3 straight, 2 of those coming away from Enterprise Center. The Kraken, meanwhile, down Chicago on Wednesday. NFL, Lamar Jackson will have another big-time threat at his disposal for the AFC title game. Baltimore tight end Mark Andrews gets activated off injured reserve as the Ravens prepare to host Kansas City. You can hear the NFC side clash between the Lions and the 49ers on the 28th on 101 ESPN. The SportsCenter update was driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at Londoff.com and LondoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Don't pull over. You're in the fast lane. Broadcasting live from the Car Shield studio on 101 ESPN.
We were on the air yesterday when the news came out that the Falcons hired or were set to hire Raheem Morris, the former defensive coordinator for the Rams. They know him very well. I think he spent a total of 5 years in Atlanta. He was a wide receivers coach at one point, then moved back over to the defensive side under Dan Quinn. He was their interim head coach when Dan Quinn was fired in 2020 after, I think, 5 or 6 weeks. Raheem Morris did a really nice job as the interim coach. He had 11 games. He went 4-7, but it's not like the Falcons were any good. But there was a couple of those games, including the Chiefs fans might remember this, where the Falcons went into Arrowhead and gave Patrick Mahomes a hard time. Raheem Morris knows his X's and O's.
Yeah.
He communicates very well. Apparently, Kyle Shanahan called the Falcons on Raheem Morris's behalf. Sean McVay did the same thing. There's a lot of people that were saying, hey, it's time to give Raheem Morris another opportunity. Right. So if you look at this in a vacuum and say, was Raheem Morris a good hire? I don't think there's really any question. And this is coming from a guy that has often said, get the offensive play caller so you don't have to make several hires all at once. Mm-hmm. Dan Campbell has proven or has shown that if you're a good head coach and you can make smart hires, smart decisions, you get a team that believes in you, it doesn't really matter what side of the ball you coach. Right. But, of course, the bigger question is why did they pass on one of, if not the greatest head coaches in NFL history to hire another defensive guy? I mean, if we were just going to shake it down like that.
Yeah.
And some of the reports that are coming out give us an indication as to why. Apparently, Bill wanted Rich McKay out. Rich McKay is basically Arthur Blank's second-hand guy. He's the next guy in charge, right? So you got Arthur Blank, the owner, who wanted to hire Belichick. The reports are he was all set to, went through the first interview with him, was ready to go, and then when Bill met with Rich McKay and some of the other members of the Atlanta front office that was conducting all these interviews, they were like, yeah, this guy wants total control over the entire organization, and we have no idea how long he's going to coach.
Yeah, of course he did. I mean, he's Bill Belichick. That's
sure
what he is accustomed to. Correct. I thought it would be more of when you're sitting there and you're saying, so Bill, who you going to bring in as your OC? Oh, Josh McDaniels.
Well, that was way too excited, but you use way too much inflection with your Bill.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Josh McDaniels.
The Josh McDaniels that just got canned from Las Vegas?
That's correct.
The same one that said he was going to be the Colts head coach and just said no?
We're not talking about
what about the one that was
surgery
in Denver that didn't work out for him either there?
What's your point?
Okay. Okay. Bill, you know what? That's fine. What about your DC? Who are you thinking?
My son.
Which son?
One of them. the one with the mullet.
The one that sticks his tongue out in the middle of games?
Yeah, I don't know his name.
Okay. We don't either, Bill. I don't know how this is going to work. You bringing Matt Patricia in, too?
Of course.
The same Matt Patricia that just got fired left the Eagles. He was brought in to be the DC halfway through the season.
Yeah, he's gonna coach defense and wide receivers.
The one that was in Detroit and he was the head coach and didn't do a great job at all. Him.
That's correct.
He's going to coach receivers. Holy smokes. You know what, Bill? Pleasure talking with you. We'll see it. We'll let you know.
Yeah. Like, we're having fun, but if you're Bill Belichick, I mean, think about that. Think about what the interviews was like. He just sat down and he goes, yeah, I've won a lot in the NFL. But what have you done recently? And maybe you don't pose it that way, but you say, hey, what are you going to do with this roster, right? Like, okay, so the last couple of years in New England, things went sideways, no problem. You're still the same guy that reinvented things consistently with Tom Brady. Like every 4 years, you were reinventing the roster based on where the NFL is. What are you going to do right now? And he just goes, yeah, I'll figure it out.
I feel like Bill came into that meeting and just did this. And that was all 6 of his rings.
Yeah. Yeah.
And walked out.
You have none of these.
There you go.
Yeah.
And what do you say?
You know, he probably went in there because he knows his resume. It's Atlanta.
Yeah.
It's the Falcons that you've done. You have been irrelevant. You were irrelevant until 2018. Then you became a meme. Yeah. Like, who are you to tell me no? And then the Falcons go, I don't know if we're getting the Bill that was energized for the first half of that dynasty, or we're still getting the Bill that from the last couple of years that had horrendous drafts.
Yeah, because they were terrible.
Kept bringing back the same guy. You know, he's surly. He's my way or the highway.
Yeah.
Do you want to take that risk?
I don't think you would, and we talked about it. Atlanta is not a city that. It doesn't feel like Bill Belichick would fit in that culture or that city. Like, that city is you think of Mike Vick and how he electrified that entire city. The Dirty Birds when they had Jamal Anderson. Like, that's the Atlanta Falcons. It's fun. It's up-tempo. It's beat. Dion.
Yes.
It's upbeat.
It's flashy.
It's not Cincinnati.
Right.
It's not, we're not going to talk about it. We don't care about that. That does not feel like the Atlanta Falcons did the 50th hip hop reunion, not the 50 years of hip hop. They invited all of the rappers from Atlanta to the Falcons game. They performed at halftime, man. Like, this is not. Right. It ain't Bill Belichick.
No.
Like,
Bill's not listening to Luda.
No. Luda who? T.I.? What is that? Like,
right.
That's what Atlanta football is. And so, Atlanta Falcon football is. And so I feel like they hired a coach that meshes well with that organization. And Bill Belichick may be on the outside looking in, trying to figure out, what the next opportunity is, if there is a next opportunity.
Well, that's the question, right? Like, is he going to get? It's not going to be this year. Washington reportedly is set on Ben Johnson, the OC for the Lions.
Yep.
And if you're the Seahawks, you just told Pete Carroll to go upstairs.
Yeah, call him back.
So what Seattle told us without telling us is that they're ready for something new, fresh, and young. That's what. Why else would you let go of Pete Carroll? Would you tell Pete Carroll,
right,
hey, we got a different job for you? You're not going to bring in Bill Belichick.
No.
So
Mike Vrabel is still sitting out there.
Well, that's the other thing that's interesting. Because when Vrabel was let go, the conversation we had was Belichick, Harbaugh, Vrabel, greatest coaching cycle ever.
Yes.
And all these teams go, hold my beer.
And Carolina says, Canales, we got you, buddy.
Yeah. You did a good job for a year. Come on down.
What that guy? Brian Callahan is calling plays in Tennessee. He hadn't called plays in 5 years.
Cincinnati. They hired the guy that's not calling plays from Cincinnati.
Because he was the OC.
Yes.
That didn't call plays.
Correct. You're our guy. So
intriguing.
Yeah. So for Belichick, you're probably at this point waiting for like Dallas to open up.
Which would be next year. Because they're bringing McCarthy back.
Sure. So
I don't feel like Dallas would be as fit for him either, because how are you going to out-control Jerry Jones?
You know what would have been the best spot?
He fired a coach because of that.
You know what would have been the best spot, honestly? even with Tepper and Carolina, Tepper just goes, "You do whatever you want. You just report to me." It would be the same thing with Kraft.
Yeah.
Hey, do your thing. I don't care who you fire. I just want a winner.
I just thought about something. Does Dennis Allen still have a job?
Yes.
How?
Well,
No.
He was.
It just dawned on me. I'm like,
He was there.
You
What was he
jettison the
doing?
OC. Allen stays.
Honestly, I could see that with as spiteful as Belichick is. I could see the Saints firing Dennis Allen, and Bill goes, "I'll take that job." I get to face Atlanta twice a year.
Dennis Allen is 24-46 in his 5 years as a head coach.
I don't know what the math is on that, but that doesn't sound like a good win percentage.
He's 16-18 in New Orleans.
Oh, there you go. So he's only 2 games under 500.
That matters.
Yeah.
That's not great.
Carey, I'm interested in this from you because to me, for the last few seasons, Dennis Allen has almost felt like a different version, very, very slightly different than Smith, though, in Atlanta, insofar as that franchise, that city, does it not need a comparable level of enthusiasm to go from Peyton to him?
Yeah, Sean Payton had that. I don't know. I don't know what I don't know. He will, if he hasn't gotten fired yet, which obviously he hadn't. They had a winning record. I don't know how that happened.
They play in the South.
They were playing in NFC South.
They had they had the weakest. Them and the Falcons had the weakest schedule.
Well, if he doesn't finish above 500, if they're 6 games in and they're 2-4, he might get fired.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, Bill will have to likely wait a year, and then we'll see what happens. But man, this is not how I thought everything was going to play out in the NFL, but that's what also makes this league fascinating to follow. What's trending is next in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
Hey, fellas, it's Carey, and if you haven't heard about Mint STL, well, let me inform you about them. Dr. Akinwande is a great guy, great friend. He is a procedure for those of you that may be suffering from a feeling of wanting to urinate but can't. Maybe you're straining while you're urinating. Maybe a feeling of being unable to empty your bladder completely, waking up in the middle of the night multiple times to urinate. It can be frustrating. Dr. Akinwande and Mint STL have the solution, and that solution is a non-surgical procedure with minimally invasive procedure that has lower risk of complications, no hospital stays, no sutures, no scarring, or general anesthesia. Relief from the uncomfortable symptoms that I mentioned above. If you are suffering from this, you could be suffering from BPH or an enlarged prostate, and Dr. Akinwande wants you to feel the best that you can feel. And going through this procedure, you will feel better. You will feel relieved. After the procedure, most men begin to notice a difference within a month or two, and the best part about it is it's covered by most insurances. So stop waiting, get going, reach out to mintstl.com today to schedule your appointment. That's mintstl.com.
Strap yourself in. You're in the fast lane, driven by Scrap Mart Metals Recycling on 101 ESPN. It's time to find out what's going on in the sports world with What's Trending Now. Brought to you by Goodwill. Donate a car and get tickets to the St. Louis Cardinals.
Back in the fast lane on 101 ESPN as we edge ever closer to the 3 o'clock hour. Anthony Stalter, Carey Davis, I am Bradford Bruns. Gentlemen, let's get into it. Tonight's hockey matchup in the great Pacific Northwest, about which we'll talk more as the show goes along. And we have Jamie on board. The Blues facing off against the Kraken, a team that hasn't been especially good of late, whereas the Blues looking for win number 4 in a row. Jordan Binnington expected to start between the pipes. And from an offensive standpoint, guys, Braden Shin has been going off as of late. The overtime game winner the other night against Vancouver. And tonight, you have to avoid really that chance, the temptation of maybe suffering a bit of a letdown against a team that is lower echelon than the Canucks.
Yeah, boy, I hope not, right? Because if you're the Blues at this point, you have wins against the Flames and the Canucks on the road. You've got 3 now in your last streak, because you throw in the 3-0 victory over the Capitals. Like, sustain this.
Keep going.
Do they have a 4-game winning streak?
No, not this year.
I mean, come on. Now's the time to compile it. So I don't care how well or poorly the Kraken is playing or playing. You got to start to get on a bit of a run here if you're the Blues.
Yeah, now is the time. It's an opportunity. You are playing extremely well. You are chasing teams down in the division, trying to make it to the number 2 seed in the playoffs and the wild card. And so just another opportunity to go out there and handle your business. And we talked about it, the All-Star break is on the way. You're going to get plenty of time to rest. Exert all of that energy. No need to save any of it. Take care of your business. Go out there and continue to play well. And hopefully you'll see another victory tonight.
It's about digging for that inner resolve, right? Especially when, how much did we hear, guys, as the calendar flipped from 2023 into 2024? You had the gauntlet of upper-level Eastern Conference teams, right? You've made it through that gauntlet. Mm-hmm. So now it is an opportunity to maybe pick apart a couple of those lesser teams and really hit the break running.
And if you're the Blues, you have no business looking down any opponent. You're right there. You're what, four games above 500 at this point, right?
Is that it might be the first time all year as well.
You're 24. So? Yeah, so you got 50. You got 50 points. You shouldn't be looking down anity.
Yeah.
At this point, I don't care if it's Columbus. I don't care if it's San Jose or Anaheim or whoever. I mean, you're a team that is trying to find its game on a week in and week out basis, if not a game to game basis.
It's definitely game to game until they show the consistency to do it, which, again, they have been doing a really good job these last 3 games. You hope that can continue, but you need to continue to see it. And you talked about the last game. They almost gave it back. Mm-hmm. They tried to give it back to the Canucks, but they were able to fight their way through it. The game against the Flames, they were down. They were able to find a way to win that game. They've won a couple of games where early in the season, they had lost. They had lost both of those games. You're down 3-1 to the Flames. Game's over. Like, it's not happening. You're up 3-1, I believe, against the Canucks, and they tied the game. Right, we're going to lose in overtime. Like, those were the thoughts or the sentiments prior to really the change of Craig Berube. And so there has been a shift, and hopefully they can continue this good work, because when you play bad teams or teams that are as good as the teams you have beaten up on, you have to win those games. Mm-hmm. So get out there. Jake Neighbors, get you another one. Keep going. I'm picking you again.
Might as well.
Football.
Lead the team.
We're what, guys? About 47 hours now from Championship Sunday. Can you feel it?
Let's go.
Let that enthusiasm surge, right? Well, the Baltimore Ravens, that fan base, probably feeling that much more optimistic given today's announcement. Mark Andrews, star tight end, has been activated from injured reserve. Actually hasn't been out there on the field. Lower body concerns since November the 16th, giving Jackson another weapon with which to play. And considering Anthony Anthony, really the degree to which Baltimore and that offense, specifically as you get closer, I think, to the red zone, love to run a ton of those crossing patterns. Right now, the second level of Kansas City's defense, probably a bit more susceptible given the injuries and so forth. This is big-time news.
If I'm Baltimore, I want to use both these tight ends because Isaiah Likely has been sensational. So if you play double tight against Kansas City, they're going to have to bring on another linebacker. I'd rather face Kansas City's extra linebacker than their extra DB.
Mm-hmm.
They do it. Kansas City has typically done a great job against the wide receivers. You did not have a great game last week from a wide receiver standpoint if you're Baltimore. Zay Flowers was quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Isaiah Likely had the touchdown, but he's a tight end. Rashad Bateman had a couple of catches. Odell Beckham was a ghost. You didn't really have much. So I think an interesting strategy for Baltimore in this game would be to use both guys.
You'll probably see some sets where they're both on the field, but Mark Andrews being healthy and ready to go, that's a difference maker. That changes the game plan for Spags, because having a tight end beat up your defense over the middle, trying to create pressure, and now you're leaving a great tight end in Mark Andrews one-on-one with a safety or a nickel corner, or a linebacker. It is a mismatch. He's bigger than the DBs. He's going to be faster and stronger, or faster than most of the linebackers. It's an uncomfortable position to be put in, and you haven't seen him for 7 or 8 weeks now. If you're watching film, obviously they can go back. They know who he is. They know what he does. But this is when you're a kid, my cousin used to have a blanket. She used to carry it everywhere with her. That's Lamar's blankie. Like, he knows, I can throw this ball to this guy. It's coming down with it. And he started to create that familiarity with Isaiah Likely, but he ain't Mark Andrews. As good as he has been, he's not. So this, to me, just gives Baltimore a shot in the arm, like Bradford said. It gives them an opportunity to be more explosive, more dangerous. And if you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan, you should be a little bit nervous that Mark Andrews is back on the field and he's healthy.
Those two, Lamar and Andrews, came into the league together back in 2018, have been pretty much inseparable ever since. Quick backfield question, and no, I'm not talking about Dalvin Cook here. Has Justice Hill, Carey, in your estimation, in the playoffs thus far and in the back half of the regular season, the second half of the schedule, has he flashed enough burst, enough wiggle to be able to put him in the mix next year with Dobbins, given the uncertainty regarding him?
I told Anthony that I thought that Dalvin Cook would be the one that eventually started getting more opportunities, because he is a veteran. He has done it at a high level. Losing Keaton Mitchell earlier in the year when he went down, he was their explosive back. He was the guy you can get the ball to, and he's going to outrun people and be just quicker, faster, more explosive. Gus Edwards, Gus Bus, love him. He's going to score down by the goal line.
Plotting,
it just doesn't feel as explosive in the running game since Mitchell went out. And that, to me, can be problematic, but you add an extra element when you have your quarterback that can run as well. So, you put the defense at a disadvantage when that quarterback, it's just an extra blocker, an extra person in the scheme that most defenses cannot, do anything with.
All right, we're going to talk a little Blues hockey with our guy Jamie. I always say that for teasing JR. Jamie Rivers is going to join us next. We'll talk about the Kraken and the Blues matchup as the Blues go for 4 straight tonight in Seattle. Again, Jamie will join us next here on 101 ESPN.
From the opening drive, the balloon party, BK and Ferrario, to the fast lane and more. If you missed anything on 101 ESPN today, get caught up with all the shows and 101 podcasts at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 mobile app.
Driven by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers.
sports source in St. Louis that matters. WXOS HD1 East St. Louis, 101 ESPN. You're listening to The Fast Lane, broadcasting live from the Car Shield studio on 101 ESPN.
Tonight, the Blues will take on the Kraken in Seattle. Blues go for 4 straight. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN 301. Your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler with Carey Davis, Super Bowl champion. And now Jamie Rivers, who joins us live from his Seattle hotel room. Jamie, what's going on, man?
Not too much, Andy. How you doing?
What? Oh, because I
heard
teased.
people called me right away. Said you called me the wrong name. My phone blew up like you wouldn't believe.
Right.
People care, Anthony. They think it's disrespectful. What do you think, Corey?
Well played. Well played. I hit my head a lot. Jamie, you know that.
I know, Anthony. I know.
All right, so Jamie, when you're looking at this matchup tonight, what's kind of the main storyline for you?
I mean, I feel like every time we play recently, it's like, it's a big game.
They are.
I know they're all big games. You're right. This one here, what stands out to me is obviously, the standings are crazy tight right now in the Western Conference, especially surrounding the wild card or the wild cards, plural, spot. But tonight, this is a fast team. Seattle plays fast, and the buzzwords we always talk about, puck management or puck placement, that's going to be huge tonight. If the Blues turn over the pucks in the neutral zone or at the far blue line, watch Seattle. They are one pass away from a scoring chance every single time. The puck goes from the blue line to the far blue line in a heartbeat, and they're in on the offense. So if the Blues, to me, don't limit the turnovers, it's going to be a long night of playing a lot of defensive hockey, which wears you down. I know that they had a day off yesterday, but regardless of the fact, it has been an extended road trip. They did play back-to-back games against a physical team in Calgary, a physical team in Vancouver, and now you've got a really fast team here. You want to try and make the game as easy as possible for yourself by turning the puck over against a team that turns it up the ice in a hurry. Mm-hmm. That's not the way to do it. So tonight for the Blues, for me, what I'm going to be watching immediately is how they'd manage the puck, what they do with it in neutral zone. Because in Calgary, we saw what happens. If you don't manage the puck properly, in Calgary's nothing compared to Seattle when it comes to transition game.
Yeah.
It'll be a long night if they don't manage it well.
Jamie, it's been a good road trip for them. Starting in this road trip, they were, 3 or 4 teams in front of them for the 2 seed, and now they're right behind Nashville, 3 points behind them. Do the players keep track of that and understand, how important these games are in terms of where they are?
I don't think so. And hear me out here, okay? It's otherwise it can be daunting, especially right now the way like the Blues were 1 point behind the other night, and then last night Nashville wins another 3 points behind. You don't want to ride that emotional roller coaster. I wouldn't, anyways. Like as a player, I never looked at the standings. I just focused on the next game that we had to play, and for the most part, I think that's what the boys are doing here. Is they're focused on playing Seattle, and the ones that are in and around that wild card spot that you're coveting so much. But as a player, Carey, just keep rolling. Mm-hmm. Put your pads on, go out there, do your job.
So Braden Shen, Jamie, has a goal in each of his past 3 games, so he's hot right now. And I think that when it comes to hockey or baseball, you just get these stretches where you're either hot or cold, or you're just kind of basically trending or treading water. Excuse me. But when it comes to Braden Shen, do you agree with that? Do you think it's just a hot streak for Braden Shen at this point, or have you seen something specifically in his game that has allowed him to find more goals of late? Because it's not like he was filling up the stat sheet before. Good, consistent player, but now he's filling up the stat sheet.
Yeah, I think that for Braden Shen, it's just continuing to play the way he needs to play. You look at his ideal type of game, and it's playing straight ahead hockey. Anytime Braden Shen falls into the east-west or the boards-to-boards type of game, that's just not his element. And if you look at right now, he's playing direct. He's getting to the net. He's being physical. He's being smart out there. And I really like the line of Neighbors, Saad, and Shen. I think they're all elevating each other. And yesterday I asked Curbs a question about, do they feel like they have to elevate their game, whatever, with Jake Neighbors. It's not really what I meant by the question. What I meant was more so that you get excited to play with a good young player who plays stylistically the same way as you do. And that's what I think has created the chemistry right now between those guys. And Braden Shen is benefiting from it. Jake Neighbors is. Brandon Saad is benefiting from it. And you watch pregame skate today, first two guys on the ice were Braden Shen and Jake Neighbors. And they're working on some skill stuff. They're working on some power play stuff, off the goal line, down low. Like, it's just wild how once you find that chemistry, once you find those line mates, that it can help everybody click in the right direction.
Well, to your point, so listen to this. Last 5 games for that line, they have scored 8 goals. They have 9 block shots and have scored 3 power plays. 3 power play goals. That is by far your most productive line. I mean, it's not even close. Your top line, just in comparison, and I'm not hammering the top line. I'm just saying this is how good the second line has been of late. Again, over the last 5 games, that second line of Saad, Shen, and Neighbors has 8 goals. The top line is 2 over that same time span, and the top line's obviously playing more minutes. I mean, you're looking at 6 more minutes a night for some of these guys. So
yeah,
the Saad, Shen, Neighbors line, it's just, again, it is top notch right now, man. They're firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, but that's what you need right now. You need that secondary scoring. If you don't have it, like we talked about it yesterday, the top line was on fire there for a little bit, but then it's like people figure out the cheat code and they shut down that line, or they do a better job of containing them. And you got to get scoring from somewhere. So when the Blues have their highest level of success, they have at least 2 lines that you have to watch up front, and the defensemen are also contributing. You look at the defense over the last 5 games, 6 games. You look at their contributions. They can't go overlooked. They're playing good offensively. They're getting assists. They're getting goals. They're up in the rush. They're keeping the plays live. All of that matters when you're a team that's kind of in that mix of teams that's fighting for a playoff spot.
Yeah, no doubt.
I was going to ask you, is it important? I mean, how important is it for that first line to get going? I mean, Jordan Kyrou has 4 goals in January. 3 of them came against the Rangers, and Thomas only has 1 goal this month. I know they're getting assists, but how important is it for them to actually score goals as well?
Well, that's really important. I mean, that puts the pressure on the other team. When the other team has to worry about 2 lines putting the puck in rather than just 1 line or 1 line at a time, then that certainly stresses them out more defensively. The matchups are more difficult, and sometimes you get caught in situations to where you get the wrong guys out there if you're the other team and you're not defending properly. So, yeah, Thomas, Kyrou, and Booch getting going, it's really important. But if you look back the last couple of games, like Booch got a goal last game against Vancouver. Kyrou gets the goal in Calgary. Robert Thomas is playing every time minutes as far as power play, penalty kill, regular shift, goalie pulled, goal for, goal against, whatever it is. He's out there. So they're still contributing, just maybe not to the magnitude that they were at one point. But, Carey, I don't necessarily think that that's horrible right now, because you're going to have peaks and valleys for every line throughout the course of the season. This actually happens to where they're still contributing, maybe not to the level that they were, but you also have another line going so that you're not feeling that direct impact right now on that first line. If they weren't producing and nobody else was producing, you wouldn't be winning hockey games, and there'd be a tremendous amount of stress put on the whole group, but mostly the guys who make the big money. They feel it the most. You know that. They feel it the most when the team's failing and nobody's contributing or they're not contributing. All eyeballs go back to them. So I don't hate that it's spread out a little bit right now.
So the Blues have been, over the last 7 games against Seattle, they're 5-2, so they've had good success against the Kraken. The Kraken, while 10-4 over their last 14 games, so only 1-4 in their last 5. So they had a nice little streak going, and then they have slumped of late. Now they are coming off a win, but this is just a good opportunity for the Blues, again, who have had good success against the Kraken, to play a team that might not be confident right now.
Yeah, but you have to remember something, too. They had some pretty big injuries. Schwartzy was out. Vince Dunn was out. By the way, Vince Dunn is tied for the league, for their team lead in points.
Sure.
I didn't have that on my bingo card.
No, neither.
And so when those guys have come back to the lineup now, they're They're big contributors, and they blew the tires off of the Chicago Blackhawks, who right now, I think they have their minor league team playing in the NHL. They have Connor Bedard. They're missing a bunch of guys. Like, it's not pretty.
They're going with the Oakland A's strategy, Jamie.
Yeah,
And
pretty
leaving
much,
Chicago?
Anthony.
Yeah.
They're leaving Chicago?
No.
Oh.
Oh,
No.
wow. I don't think they leave Chicago, but
Let's go
I
more for the minor
understand how you
league
got
thing.
there, Carey.
Could you imagine? We're out of here. Going to a bigger market.
Yeah,
We're going to be another team in New York.
seriously. No, but look, this is a good Seattle Kraken team. They've had some injuries. Their goaltender is playing out of his mind right now. So this is a massive test. It is. It's going to be a big test for this team to close out this road trip, hopefully on a positive note. And with a win tonight, you're right back to where you were yesterday, which is 1 point behind the wild card spot with a game in hand.
There you go.
So is it a big game? Yeah, it's a big game. They need to win it.
9 o'clock puck drop out in Seattle. Blues and Kraken will have the game coverage for you on the Blues Radio Network. The pregame show starting on 101 ESPN will start at 8 o'clock. You'll hear from Alex Ferrario, Chris Gerber, and Joe Vitale. With Jamie Rivers, Carey Davis, I'm Anthony Stalter. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. We asked for your mic drops on the Cardinals, and we're actually going to bring Jamie into the mix too here. With spring training 4 weeks away from tomorrow, who or what has the most to prove? We'll get into that next on 101 ESPN.
It's time for another moment in Blues history.
On this day back in 2000, the Blues would start a 6-game win streak with a 4-1 victory against the Ottawa Senators, a stretch where the Blues would win 12 of 13 games. Scott Young picked up 2 goals in this one. The Blues would score 2 power play goals, and Pierre Turgeon would pick up 3 assists for the Blues win as well.
This date in Blues history was powered by Classic Air Care, making people comfortable since 1926. For all your HVAC needs, ClassicAirCare.com. You're in the fast lane on 101 ESPN, driven by Scrap Mart Metals Recycling.
1, 2, 3, 4.
It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN with Super Bowl champion Carey Davis. Jamie Rivers joining us from Seattle. What's up?
Just making sure.
That's your Carey Davis?
Yeah. He called me Corey last segment.
You know what? I set the tone with that by calling Jamie Jeremy because I was used to
Jeremy.
Setting. Well, it's both
tomato.
Look, guys, let's not do this. Let's not fight. You get the championship Sunday this weekend. Let's not fight. Let's not do this. Okay,
right. You're right.
It's a glorious Friday. Jamie's in Seattle, where it's probably raining. It's gonna be a fun blues night tonight.
It's not raining. It is gray, though. It reminds me a little bit of Gotham City, too.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. You gonna fight some crime tonight?
Probably not. Not paid to
You got a plane to catch after the
pass
game.
on that. Yeah.
If they decide to pay me, I'll step up.
You're in. You sure? So, Jamie, we had a mic drop theme today that we led off the show with, which was 4 weeks from tomorrow, it's spring training. Who's got the most to prove? Carey, if you want to just hear what we said, we haven't gotten any mic drops yet. We've gotten mic drops, but we haven't played any yet.
Okay.
Bradford Bruns, who's pinch hitting today for our guy Marshy Marsh, he said Mason Wynn. Carey went with the de facto ace, Sonny Gray. I actually went with Mo because if they start slow, what are you going to do about it? Who are you going to go with?
Wow. So, guys, first of all great choices. Okay, well done. The group, well done.
Thanks.
I'm going to say, for me, I think Nolan Arenado has the most to prove.
Ooh.
I do. I mean, he wants to be the man. He's the guy who, in my opinion, and based on what I'm reading and hearing and seeing, he's the guy that said they needed more leadership, older guys. He probably petitioned for Matt Carpenter to be signed and like all these things. And he's also one of the guys who had a down year last year. To me, your biggest guys have the most to prove. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's a coin flip between Goldie and Arenado, but I'm going to go with Nolan Arenado because I think he's got more to prove at this point.
You guys have heard my take on this before. When people start to text in or say in mic drops or you just hear people say it, I'm so concerned that the Cardinals are going to waste the primes, or not even primes, but just waste the efforts of Goldschmidt and waste the efforts of Arenado. I always come back with, well, aren't they on the team too? Aren't you paying a bunch? Like what they did 2 years ago was, one, become the NL MVP, and two, finish third in the NL MVP. Can't remember if they made the playoffs. They won They went to the playoffs that year. Last year, and I'm not hanging everything on on these two guys because they don't pitch. But last year wasn't great. Goldie still had a good season. Arenado not up to his standards, not offensively or defensively. You need your best players to be at the top of their game if you're going to be a legit contender, whether that's contender for the National League Central or an NL pennant. If you're gonna be a good team, your studs got to be your studs. So, Jamie, I like that one. Let's get to our mic drops. Let's hear from Trevor first.
One batter and one pitcher that has the most to prove. First is Mason Wynn. If he doesn't work out, then that totally messes up the outfield situation with Edman having to come in and play shortstop, and then you're forced to play Dylan Carlson or bring up Victor Scott. On for the pitchers, I think it's Steven Matz. It all depends on what Steven Matz is going to show up. Is it going to be the Steven Matz that can stay healthy and is pitching with not very much confidence, or is he the bulldog that came in after he left the bullpen and came in and let the world on fire?
Where are you guys on Mason Wynn? Because
I'm glad you asked that. Because Bradford said it, and I am of the thought that even if he doesn't hit well, you still play him every day as long as the defense is solid up the middle.
Sure.
I think you can handle one hitter that is, not performing at the plate as well as you would prefer them to. You did it for years with Yadier Molina. He wasn't always.
You bite your tongue.
Well, I'm just telling you the truth. He's a great player.
Nice. So my Yadi.
Yeah, we love Yadi. But he wasn't always stellar at the plate. He had some years that were down. But do you sit Yadier Molina?
No.
Hell no. Because he's too important at his job. And so for Mason Wynn, I feel if the defense up the middle is as stellar as we expect it to be, well, you know what? Damn it. Everybody else got to hit. Figure it out. Because this guy ain't going to sit. And Tommy Edman, I'm talking to you, pal. You better hit. You better. You got to hit. Because we got one guy that may not be able to, and he's younger in his career, and he's a better infielder, supposedly, or expected to be, projected to be, than all of the other guys you have on the roster. So you don't sit him and be frustrated because he's not hitting well.
The difference here, CD, and everybody, is that Mason Wynn, even in his small sample size last season, when he technically still wasn't a rookie, he flashed more than enough to be exceptional with the arm, with the athleticism. He has the chance to be elite at the position, not just good, but elite. Therefore, if the rest of your offense, if your linchpins, as we said last hour, the guys who are supposed to be carrying the respective loads, if they're doing their respective jobs and they're giving you the 800-plus OPS outings, then Mason Wynn in the least pressurized spot in the order, hitting 8th or 9th, you should be able to ride with him, in theory.
I agree.
So here's where I am on the whole Mason Wynn thing. If Mason Wynn ends up being the guy who has to prove the most, you got bigger problems than you thought. Bottom line. And it's, everybody just kind of said the same thing. Like, defensively, I think he proved to us already last year. Defensively, he's going to be just fine at the major league level. And to your point, Bradford, he might even be a Gold Glover or elite at some point. So if he's got the most to prove, like, where the hell's everybody else?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. Now, Trevor does bring up an interesting scenario in which Mason Wynn is so overwhelmed. And I'm talking about the extreme example. He's so overwhelmed that you have to send him down so that he can kind of refine things.
Does his arm work?
Yes.
Does his glove work?
Carey, I said the most extreme example, okay? You and I have the same. Look, you and I are on the same team here.
Sorry.
We have the same take.
My apologies.
Trying to expand the conversation. If you're Trevor and you're thinking, all right, an extreme example, Mason Wynn's just so overwhelmed. He's not good. He's horrible. He's a total liability, like worst case scenario. And you got to bring Tommy Edman back in. Yeah, that I can see why things have to be moved around. But still, Mason Wynn, play exceptional defense.
I'm okay with it.
Do your thing offensively. Just learn the game. You're good.
You know, the Cardinals didn't realize that the shift was banned, so he's going to be really good because he can play one side. He does a really good job. He's athletic. They didn't realize that.
No.
That's why they got him now.
That's why they got Goldmark back. You can't shift now.
That's true.
There
Good call.
Go.
Yeah, they figured it out.
He's going to now. Actually, he might hit really well.
Yeah.
No.
He's going to be pulling it all over the field.
Pulling it right in that right.
Sure.
Right past the second baseman.
Yeah.
Right in that spot where the second baseman and shortstop used to be. And he'd line out every time.
Back when they cheated.
Back when they cheated.
Don't worry about butting it down the third baseline. No one's there. Oh, well, I guess I could do that.
Well, Carey,
third baseman's at second base. Let's just not lay it down over here.
Let's just pretend like there's a body on the left side of the infield.
Welcome to modern day baseball, baby. All right. It's Fastlane 101 ESPN. We have mic drops from Vincent and Michael, and we can play those throughout the course of the show. It is our mic drop theme today. You can still participate if you go to the 101 ESPN app. 100% free to you. Doesn't cost you anything. Leave us a mic drop with spring training 4 weeks away from tomorrow. Who has the most to prove? And we've gotten a variety of different answers thus far, which is kind of fun to do these mic drop themes. That's why we do it. So we'll play more of your mic drops throughout the course of the day. But let's get to our first Championship Sunday matchup. Chiefs, Ravens. We'll break it down next on 101 ESPN.
Coverage of 101 ESPN is presented by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. GetJim.com. BK and Ferrario are asking their listeners to try and beat the Blues during their weekly special giveaway. Random selected listeners will compete to score a signed Blues puck and a pair of tickets to a Blues home game. The Beat the Blues weekly giveaway with BK and Ferrario is powered by Comfort Experts, your independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer. Learn more now at 101ESPN.com.
SSM Health welcomes the St. Louis Golf Expo, February 2nd through 4th at St. Charles Convention Center. Get an old Kinderhook round with online ticket purchases and door prizes while they last. Test drive PXG in the simulator and savor beer, cocktails, and more. VIP tickets at stlgolfexpo.com.
College basketball is on ESPN. Tomorrow, Florida State and North Carolina. Pregame at 12:30, tip-off at 1. The NCAA plays on 101 ESPN. 101 ESPN Sports Center.
Blues vie to fight off Kraken. I'm Bradford Bruns, and this Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Currently sitting in 5th place in the Central Division, St. Louis gets another opportunity to climb the standings. Tonight, Seattle hosting the Note at 9 o'clock on 101 ESPN. The Blues, winners of 3 straight, having knocked off Washington, Calgary, and Vancouver in succession. They return to Enterprise Center on Sunday for a matinee against the Kings. That same afternoon, the NFC title game pitting Detroit versus San Francisco. Even earlier, Baltimore will draw Kansas City. We're going to talk about that one next on 101 ESPN as the Ravens expect to have star tight end Mark Andrews back in the fold. He hasn't suited up since November the 16th. This Sports Center update was brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
You're in the fast lane, coming to you live from the Car Shield studio on 101 ESPN.
NFC Championship game between the Chiefs and the Ravens. They'll kick off 2 o'clock, and I think this is going to be a fascinating matchup all told. And guys, I don't know. We can start with the Kansas City side here. I had mentioned this before. Isaiah Pacheco is banged up. Andy Reid doesn't always love to stick with the run. That's kind of the MO with him. It's like, hey, get a little bored, Jamie. I'm gonna start throwing the ball around the yard with this guy named Patrick Mahomes. Makes sense.
Pretty good though.
But I think if you're gonna beat the Ravens, you're gonna need to be able to run the ball. Their secondary doesn't give up a lot. They've got a lot of unique blitz packages. You don't face a stacked box a lot of times when you face Baltimore. The more reason to run the football. But Pacheco's banged up. He's going to have a big game, and Reed's going to have to stick with the run game. You might get one of those things. I don't know if you get all three. So that's where I'm at with Kansas City on this. The best way to go might not be the way that Andy Reid wants to go to win the football game.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jamie.
Oh, sorry, Carey. I was going to let you back cleanup since you're the football guy here.
That's fine.
Just going to let the hockey guy just chime in for a quick second. I said it yesterday. I said that was the one thing about the Chiefs. Like, they're going to have to establish a running game. And if they can't do that, or Andy Reid gets bored, or Andy Reid just doesn't like to run the ball as much as he should, they're in trouble. I really believe that that's going to be the difference maker, because if you're passing the ball around out there, and for some reason you're a couple of 3-and-outs, you can't give the ball to Lamar. Mm-hmm. You can't. And if you can't control the game by running it, you're screwed. So those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I think, obviously Pacheco is going to be a big deal. Clyde Edwards-Helaire tends to, he runs hard, but he puts the ball on the ground every now and then, and I'm not a fan of it. Which, in the playoffs, you don't want to turn the ball over.
You don't like turnovers?
Not if I'm on an offensive side.
Makes
if I'm
sense.
like as a team, when my defense gets the turnover, love it. When my offense gives up a turnover, not so much.
Okay, fair.
So if I'm from the Kansas City Chiefs side and I have to depend on Clyde Edwards-Helaire, makes me a little bit worried. You also should be worried. There have been some injuries. Willie Gay, linebacker for them, got injured, banged up a little bit last week, neck injury. We'll see if he's questionable. I'm sure he'll play. But again, same with we talk about Deebo Samuel with the shoulder. Anytime something gets, your neck is a sensitive thing. You don't want it to. That
I hear the spine's important these days.
It's kind of important, especially as a linebacker. You got to make tackles, and that jolting of your neck going back and forth, not great. L'Jarius Sneed, calf injury. Sure, he'll be able to play, but calves are tricky as well. So the injuries could be piling up for the Kansas City Chiefs, and Joe Thuney, their starting left guard, is out. So
he's been ruled out.
Ruled out. So
shut your face.
They got him ruled out right now. So I
Wait,
think
who's ruled out?
Joe Thuney, the starting guard.
Oh,
but
not the Looney, but the Thuney.
Here's the Nicky Allegretti, who is a former Illini.
That sounds like a race car driver.
Nicky Allegretti. Mm-hmm. Nick Allegretti's a good guy. Family good people. He's former Illini. So
he'll be Michael.
Okay. I don't know.
Probably not.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hey, CD, strategically speaking on that side of the ball, and yes, we know Kansas City has that litany of injuries. So much is made, and rightfully so, about Spagnuolo and the ability to game plan, make adjustments in game, going into the second half, just preparing his unit accordingly. But given all of the injuries on that side for Kansas City, and also the fact that they really love to play a lot of man zone, especially inside of the 10, but you're going against Lamar. Is this the worst possible scenario for a Spags coach defense? Because if there's one thing that his teams have surrendered since he took over there in 2019, scrambling touchdowns to the opposing QB.
Yeah, you don't want to play man-to-man with Lamar Jackson as your quarterback that you're facing, because the moment those defenders turn their back and run, he's going to be out of there. And if you are unable to create a pass rush, if you're unable to get to the quarterback, it's going to be a long day if you're deciding to play man. And Spags has done a lot of that. He's blitzed. If you can't get him on the ground, if you bring more than they have, meaning you bring 6 and they only got 5 blocking, or you bring 7 and they only got 6 blocking, and you're unable to get to the quarterback or get him down with that unblocked defender, if he doesn't get the ball out of his hand and you're unable to get him down, now all of those other guys are running with their receivers, with their backs turned, and he's going to pick up a 40-yard run or a 20-yard run or a touchdown, whatever the case may be, wherever you're located on the field. So it's a challenge for anytime you play a quarterback that has mobility, it keeps defensive coordinators up at night. How do I stop this person? Because if I allow him time to just sit back in the pocket, well, he probably can pick us apart. Now, especially with having Mark Andrews available, it's a tough task regardless, but you know, it's really hard to play against a quarterback of Lamar Jackson's capability.
You haven't faced anybody like this either, Jamie. I mean, if you look back, you're Kansas City, so you faced Josh Allen, obviously. Okay, so Josh Allen was productive last week, but ultimately Buffalo didn't have the pieces defensively. But you get past that hurdle. You lost to that same Josh Allen, a month ago or so. You also went 1-1 against Aiden O'Connell. You beat Bailey Zappi, Easton Stick, and Jake Browning in the final month of the season.
It's a heck of a
Kansas City. So there was good wins. Now, the last week against Easton Stick, you were playing your backups too, so whatever, right? You could throw that one out. But it's not like Kansas City has gone through a gauntlet since the start of December. Tua and that offense for Miami was frozen. They showed up frozen. You didn't order them that way. They showed up. You're like, these guys, this is no good to me anymore. They're not going to defrost. Like, it's over. That's who you've beaten.
And to keep in mind, Josh Allen rushed for 72 yards against them last week, 2 touchdowns.
So that's where I want to go.
Yeah.
I want to ask both of you guys, and whoever wants to take it, you can. What do the Chiefs do then against Lamar? Because to your point, Anthony, like, they haven't faced a Lamar, obviously. Mm-hmm. Josh Allen was close. He's close. He can run the ball. The big moose got around out there pretty good. He's a dangerous quarterback, but he's not Lamar.
Yeah.
So now, to your point earlier, Carey, if they turn in man-to-man and they start to go backwards and Lamar starts eating up some yardage on them, and then they go back to maybe a zone or I don't know the exact terminology of the setups. You guys can figure out what I'm trying to say.
Sure.
Then Lamar can air it out down the field. So how do you play this guy?
You don't. That's why he's going to win another MVP.
Oh, wow. Jamie,
I mean, I could have said that, Carey.
Carey, you didn't even play it. You didn't play at all. Like, Jamie,
you didn't even give me multiple options.
Jamie gave a really good question, and Carey goes, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. It's over.
He just gave you the parent answer.
The
little
answer,
kid comes to
basically, do as I say. Why? Because I said so.
So
right.
The problem is he creates so many disadvantages for your defense. We talked about possibly spying the quarterback. That's where you have everyone else possibly playing zone, but his eyes, the linebacker's eyes, are solely on Lamar Jackson. So if he does break out of the pocket, you have a linebacker that is supposed to be able to tackle him. The only problem with that damn linebacker ain't as fast or as athletic as Lamar Jackson. So that's one issue. We talked about the man-to-man. That's an issue. You can play zone and drop 8 or drop 7 and only rush 3 or 4, but now you're giving him an opportunity where I have more people to block than you have to rush. So I have more time in the pocket, which, again, you talk about skating on the defensive end, how tiring that is. Ask a DB about letting a quarterback sit in the pocket for 5 seconds. How tiring that is while Zay Flowers is zigzagging all over the field. And now those guys are fatigued, and now you get a ball thrown behind you. So, again, it is the only thing that you can hope for is you get pressure with 4 with your defensive line against their offensive line, and you get to the quarterback and don't allow him excessive amount of time to pick you apart downfield.
Yeah, I'm not playing man-to-man. I'm dropping him. I'm dropping as many as I can in his zone. Make him play quarterback. He could still beat me with his arm because he's outstanding.
But that's not Spags. That's not what he does.
Which is why, Carey, you need to tell Jamie that the Chiefs are going to lose and Lamar's going to,
he's going to have a day
for a Super Bowl. But
all roads lead back to Carey's initial statement.
Exactly.
Ain't nothing you can do.
You're right. It's not Spags. But if you blitz Lamar, I mean, I won't bore anybody with the numbers, but Lamar against the blitz is outstanding. Like, he's been fantastic. So you put a little pressure on him, and you want to blitz him, he'll hit Zay Flowers. That's his main guy in when it comes to when you're going to blitz him. Otherwise, play zone, force him to try to go through his progressions. It's not it's not ideal, but it's your best case scenario against Lamar.
But Spags is, what they say, a tiger doesn't change his stripes. Leopard can't change his spots.
Yeah.
That's who Spags is. He is a heat 'em
Elephant
up.
can't take off his trunk.
I never heard that one. That's
No, I've heard that, Anthony.
Okay. You two might be
predominantly in Michigan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks, Jamie.
You two might be the only.
How did that work out for Spags in the team's last meeting
Michigan thing.
in 2021, right? Stoltz, though, on the flip side, when you talk about the success, obviously, or rather just how much of Kansas City's attack is dictated by being able to blitz and to get exotic in that manner. For Baltimore, last weekend, we saw exactly what the Ravens were able to do in terms of terrorizing Stroud. So even more, I don't think it's possible to underscore how important the absence of Tooney now is going to be in this game, because as far as selling out on occasion early on and trying to rattle Mahomes as much as possible, look, Rice, Kelsey, et al., they're not going up against a dinged-up Buffalo defense.
No.
This is a ferocious group in Baltimore.
And I've got guys that can. I mean, look, Travis Kelsey. I'm not minimizing what he has. I mean, Travis Kelsey is one of the better tight ends that we've seen play over the last decade now. But he still doesn't look like the same guy, despite catching the 2 touchdowns last week. And I've got guys. I've got Kyle Hamilton. Marlon Humphrey is supposed to be back this week. I got guys to go up against your 2 players, because you only have 2. You have Rashee Rice and you have Travis Kelsey. Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Love him.
He wasted his catches last week. That's it for him. The 2 catches he made last week, that's it. It's all dried up now. He's done.
You don't want to give it to Hardman again on the goal line?
I would prefer not to give Hardman. Quite frankly, I would have cut him too. Like, just be done with it. You're not going to give him the ball again. So
Those guys handle the ball with their hands closed. They try to catch with their fists.
Rather give it to Noah Gray, frankly.
Jamie, to answer
Justin Watson,
to give you an answer to your question, the best opportunity, the best chance that the Chiefs have is to match point for point, to score. Every time they get the ball, score. Put pressure on Baltimore. Hope they get a 3 and out. Hopefully they don't, hopefully they have to end a drive with a punt or a field goal and not score a touchdown, and you're able to score a touchdown on your next drive. That, to me, is the way that Kansas City can, because you're going to have to match point for point or score first and hope that you can get a stop at some point. That's the best way, because just looking at the matchup, Baltimore's offense versus Kansas City defense, it feels like it's a tough task ahead for the Kansas City Chiefs.
There you go. All right, that is a 2:00 kickoff in Baltimore at the bank. See you outside the bank.
At the OB more.
That's right. Absolutely.
Carey, what do you think of Baltimore, the city? Just out of curiosity.
I don't have any thoughts about it. We got in, got out. What wins usually? Won the division there one time.
Look at you.
Winning the division matters.
Probably.
Anthony.
Did I ever tell you? About my experience in Baltimore?
No.
This is good. Go ahead.
So I'm playing in the minors, and we go in to play the Baltimore Bandits. Your Baltimore Bandits. There's like 12 people in the crowd. But we stayed at the Days Inn, Baltimore.
Okay.
So, we're setting the stage, right?
Yeah.
And not in the harbor either, like in the city.
In Baltimore.
And in Baltimore, yeah. And so about 2:00 in the morning, the walls are paper thin at the old Days Inn, Baltimore. Great people and friendly staff, but there was a shooting. There were people running down the hall shooting at each other at the old Baltimore Days Inn.
Really?
We poke our heads out, and I poked my head out, and my roommate was like, I'm like, dude, if you put your head out there, you're an idiot. Then you just hear pop, 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 pop. I'm like, oh boy, we're in one. Take to the ground.
Wow.
That's not great.
Yeah. That was my baptism to Baltimore. It was the very first night I'd spent in Baltimore, and didn't sleep the rest of the night. And then the next time we had to go back there, they had security on our floor for that one at the old Days Inn. I think the guy fell asleep eating a donut, but still.
He was security, all right.
He had a shirt which said security. He didn't have a gun on him. I remember telling their coach, I said, Coach, unless that guy's got a gun on him, he's no help to anybody right now.
Right. Security and name
only. You got
only.
a T-shirt. You respect that shirt?
Oh, yeah, that stopped before, Carey. That works. Hang on, that's a big flashlight.
Yeah.
I'm scared now.
Be careful. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. We've got Blues Cues coming up next. If you've got a Blues-related question, send it into the Air Comfort Service text line at 314-399-9646. Again, Blues Cues next in the Fast Lane.
Kickstart your mornings with the opening drive on 101 ESPN. Get in the know first on everything St. Louis sports with Brooke Grimsley, Dan McLaughlin, and Randy Carricker. The opening drive, weekday mornings from 7 to 10 on 101 ESPN.
The opening drive is presented by Sumner One.
If you are currently in the market to sell your home, stop everything that you're doing right now and call Gloria Liu with your home sold guaranteed realty. Her number is 314-325-6888. When you pick up the phone and call her, please tell her that Jamie Rivers sent you in. She knows that I send everybody over there because she gets the job done. How does she get the job done? Simple. She's got unbelievable options for every seller. My favorite option is the guaranteed sales, and that's where Gloria Liu sits down with you, the home seller. You guys agree upon a sales price, then she sells your home for that price, or she buys it herself and she guarantees you that in handwriting. And why is Gloria so sure about all this? Because she has thousands of ready buyers in her exclusive database. All that does is create more traffic for your listing, higher demand for your property, and hopefully more money for you when it's all said and done. So please, again, pick up the phone, call Gloria Liu. Her number, once again, is 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or you can visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Conditions do apply. Gloria and the seller must agree upon the sales price and possession date.
Open up your 101 mobile app for your chance to win free tickets to see Sammy Hagar, bringing the best of all world summer tour to Hollywood Casino Amphitheater on August 31st. Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Sammy Hagar will be joined by Michael Anthony, Joe Satriani, and Jason Bonham for a huge show this August at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater, including special guests Loverboy. Get all the ticket details and get entered to win those free tickets for the show right now, either at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 mobile app.
Is the Fast Lane, driven by Scrap Mart Metals Recycling on 101 ESPN.
All right, it's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Carey Davis, Jamie Rivers. Almost call us all.
Hi, Anthony.
Almost call us all fat. It's a fatso lane. 101 ESPN. I know. That's not right. We've all been working out.
It's a little while ago. Maybe a couple of us hit that a little while ago, Anthony, but we've been working hard, you know.
Well, you go to mentality.
It's been fantastic for us.
All right. Let's do the Blues cues right now. Bradford Brun stepping in for Andrew Marsh via your questions via the Air Comfort Service text line.
Jamie from the 314, just how much longer does interim head coach Drew Bannister have? Have we already seen what Bannister can maximize from this collection of players?
Well, I hope he's got a long time to go. He's done a real good job with this team. And you have to imagine that this is not Drew Bannister's team either. As we get a little music in the background like that. But this is not Drew Bannister's team. This is Craig Berube and Doug Armstrong's team that they built together. And Drew Bannister was handed this team and said, hey, buddy, good luck. And here, by the way, here's the checklist of things we want you to accomplish with the team that you didn't have any say in. So I think that he's done a really good job of earning the confidence of the guys. And Carey, you know this. Like, as a young coach, who doesn't have the NHL experience yet as a head coach, does as a player, but not as a head coach, coming up from the minor league team, you're called the interim head coach. Like, earning the confidence of the players, let alone the superstars, can be tough at times.
Yeah, when you get the guys to trust you, I think you get the best version of your players. And I think Drew Bannister has done a great job. I mean, we started with him sitting Pavel Buchnevich earlier when he first got here and just saying, hey, you're not doing the job good enough. And everyone responded correctly. It was just a signal that let people know what time it was. Now this is going to be a little bit different. These are the expectations. And if you don't meet these expectations, you won't play. And I thought that was a really good thing. And I thought it was a really good response by the players on that team to figure out that this is what we need to do in order to win games.
Having said that, Jamie, from the 636, post the 2024 season, which head coaches right now would you look at, would you examine and say, if they're on the chopping block, who would be a good viable candidate here in St. Louis?
Yeah, Drew Bannister. I'm tired of the recycle bin. I'm absolutely tired of it. You get guys that just move around over and over and over again, and we look at that and we're like, oh, the coaching, look at who's available. This guy's available. Why do you think he's available? He didn't get the job done wherever he was last. And you just keep recycling these old coaches. I don't get it. I don't like it. I think if Joel Quenneville was available, that would be somebody I would kick the tires on. But, man, that situation in Chicago still isn't sorted out. He's still culpable for his part in what happened in Chicago. So he may not even be allowed by the league to coach yet. Apart from that, like, who else are you looking at? Gerard Gallant? Okay, he's had okay success, but his teams have done nothing in the playoffs. He's a nice guy. He's a player's coach. But it seems like his shelf life is like 2 seasons and you got to move on to the next guy. I'd rather stick with Drew Bannister and give him an extended period of time. You know, this is his first shot at it. I'd like to give him an off season to sit down with Army and the scouting staff and talk about players that he'd like to have on his team, an identity that he'd like his team to be. Let him get going for a season or two, see how that works out. The players already know him. They know what his expectations are. Hell, to Carey's point, he sat one of the best players and got a positive response from these guys. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm just bitter about it. I'm just tired of seeing the same guys recycled over and over and over again who end up with the same results, and 2 years from now you're in the same boat of looking for a head coach. I'd rather give it to the guy who's proven he's hungry, he wants it, and has had pretty good success so far.
One young guy, Rivs, who has made a big impression on the ice so far this season from the 314. Realistically, what is the long-term ceiling for one Jake Neighbors? Jamie, where do you see him slotting in long-term as far as top 6 or maybe even a top-line staple?
Well, I think top 6 is certainly where he could be. On an elite team, he's a middle 6. Let's just be honest. He's a second or third liner on an elite team. If you took Jake Neighbors and plopped him into Colorado right now, he's not playing on the top line. So I think realistic expectations when you're looking at the Blues is you're hoping that you can get to that elite team status in the next 3, 4, 5 years. And if you do, Jake Neighbors is somewhere in the middle 6, which is not bad. Those guys get paid a lot of money. They're really important to your hockey club. Just look at Braden Shen. I don't know the last time he was a number 1 center on this team, if ever, for that matter, for an extended period of time. Yet he's really important to this team. Hell, he's your captain. So I look at it to where the ceiling for Jake Neighbors is 25 goals for him. He's a second-line player, a second power play guy, 25 goals, contributing out there, physical. I said yesterday, I think he'll have a letter on his chest in the next 4 or 5 years. It might even be sooner. In the next 4 or 5 years, he might have the C on his chest, depending on what Braden Shen does and what the Blues do. Like, who knows, right? But he's just that type of player. So for me, the ceiling is still undetermined because I didn't expect it to be where it's at already right now. I've been thoroughly impressed with this player, and I'm excited to see what comes up for the rest of the season and years to come. But yeah, he should be a staple with this organization for a long time.
From the offense to the defense, with a bit of that leadership also mixed in. Jamie, in a word or two, can you describe the importance of number 55 to this organization? And specifically, what is it about him that makes Colton Parayko so indispensable?
First of all, I told you all, you doubters, last year. I told you. All you Blues fans that wanted to trade him, get rid of him, waive him. Can you believe it? Somebody said waive him last year. Go smack your head off a wall. What the hell's your problem?
Hey, I didn't say it.
Just because I was looking at you, Anthony, doesn't mean I was actually talking
Well,
to
but the whole smack your head off the wall. I mean, I've done that.
I know. It hits home. It's personal. I apologize for that,
it's okay.
Anthony.
That's all right.
We'll choose something different. But go chase yourself. How about that?
Perfect.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
Thanks, buddy.
No, but people last year, Anthony, you know this, and Carey, you know it too. People are like, 6.5, one of the worst contracts in the NHL. The Athletic, sorry, JR, but the Athletic had Colton Parayko as one of the worst deals in the NHL. Really? How you like me now? How you like me now? Playing 24, 25, 26 minutes a game, dominating on the power or the penalty kill, contributing out there offensively, shutting down the opposition night in and night out. What do you say about this guy? He's an elite defenseman. I'd put him as one of the top 10 defensemen in all of the NHL, one of the top 5 defensemen in shutdown capacity. So if you take away like the Cale Makars and the Quinn Hughes, those guys are elite. I get it. But they don't shut other teams down like Colton Parayko does. Now, they create more offense. They're better on the power play. I get it. But I'm just saying, if you isolate certain qualities that Colton Parayko has, he's a top 5 defenseman. Otherwise, he's a top 10 defenseman. Guys, it's incredible what I'm watching with him on a nightly basis. I just absolutely love it. I'm thrilled for him because in my opinion, he took some verbal abuse last year from Blues fans that he didn't need. And I think people are realizing quickly now what we do have here in St. Louis, and that the $6.5 million, that's going to look like a flea on an elephant's behind in about 3-4 years. So, that's going to end up being one of the best deals, most valued deals. Watch The Athletic. Watch this. 2 years from now, one of the best valued deals in the NHL, Colton Parayko. I'm going to snap at that.
That's Jamie Rivers. Carey Davis, Anthony Stalter's Fastlane on 101 ESPN, and we have a returning gauntlet contestant. It's either Carey.
Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, it's either Carey or me today. We'll find out who Charles takes on next on 101 ESPN. Perfect time to head out to Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum because right now you can get great deals throughout the month of January, but the month of January is coming to a close. It's already the 26th. So head out to Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum. One spot, one location. You don't have to drive around St. Louis or the greater Illinois area looking for your next new ride because there's several different dealerships with several different cars. No, over 700 vehicles, new and pre-owned, all in one spot, all in one location. So when you go on to AutoCentersNissan.com and you peruse all the vehicles that they have, and they've got trucks, vans, SUVs, sports cars, whatever you're looking for, they've got them. When you check them out at AutoCentersNissan.com, you know that when you head to the dealership the next day or a couple days later, that you're going to test drive that exact vehicle. And they've got financing options for you, financing options for everyone. Good credit, bad credit, doesn't matter. They will hook you up at Auto Centers. They do a tremendous job, too, of giving you the lifetime complimentary warranty, free lifetime complimentary warranty, as well as the 30-day return promise within 30 days. If you need to bring the vehicle back for any reason, they will give you the full refund. It's Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum. Tell them Stalter sent you.
WXOS, WXOS HD1 East St. Louis. 101 ESPN is driven by Auto Centers Nissan, home of the lifetime warranty and 30-day return. More of what you want to hear. Sports. This is the Fast Lane, broadcasting live from the Car Shield studio on 101 ESPN. 4 warriors, 4 categories, 1 challenger. Can you master the gauntlet?
The Gauntlet is powered by Master, your hometown source for business communications for more than 30 years. Visit Mastor.com.
All right, time for the gauntlet in the Fast Lane, where it's 4:08. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. We welcome in Charles for a 3rd consecutive day. That means round 3 of the gauntlet for Charles. What's up, man?
Hey, did Riz call me, did Mr. 3000 call me Chuck E. Cheese before we went to break?
He did, yeah, he did.
I did.
I don't know how you feel about that.
No offense, of course.
Yeah.
No
Mr.
offense, of course. You know,
3000.
Chuck E. Cheese brought a lot of smiles to a lot of children.
That's
Charles.
true.
Come on.
Yeah.
I'm going to Chuck E. Cheese on Sunday, actually. So fun.
Oh, there you go.
There you
Yeah.
go. See?
Jamie
Maybe
knew.
you get a free table.
Yeah.
Sure. All right, Charles. It's Carey Davis or me today. Who would you like to take on?
Yeah, I'll say about Carey Davis.
All righty.
Okay, Carey Davis. Going to the Cone of Silence.
I'm out of here.
There you go. All right.
Carey looks pissed. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know what Carey's deal is there on that.
All right, Anthony, remember, I'm going to need someone to
Send you the.
send me the questions. Once the wheel lands, send me the questions.
You got it. No problem. All right, Charles, go ahead and tell Bradford to spin the wheel.
Spin that wheel.
Okay. So what'd you get? Baseball and football? So those the two?
Yeah,
you've
it's
gotten
baseball,
so far?
football.
Okay, let's see what you get today here. What we got, Bradford?
Anthony, did I not tell you that it would be one of 2 categories?
You did.
It is football.
All right, you're going to have to take down Carey in football. It has happened. I think Carey played in the gauntlet the first time and was beaten in football. Bradford's getting us the launch codes here. I'll take a picture for Jamie and send it to you. So as I do
Send
this,
me the right picture this time, please.
you like that last picture.
I didn't say I didn't like it. I just need the right one to be able to be helpful.
Sure. Yeah, no problem. That one's helpful too.
Yeah.
Some may say. All right.
Just at different times, Anthony. We know how that works.
Yeah, of course. Yep. All right, I just sent you there the questions there, Jamie. So you're all set.
You sent me that one again.
Leaving the mass text.
Charles, as you know, you're going to get 4 football questions. Each question is worth 2 points unless you need the options. If you ask for the options, those questions are worth 1 point. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Question number 1. Patrick Mahomes' first AFC championship game was against which team? His first AFC championship game was against which team?
The Ravens, final answer?
All right. Look at that. It was quick. Chucky's fast on that one. All right. Question 2, Charles. Who was the last team the Detroit Lions lost to in the regular season?
Can I get the options?
Sure. Was it the Minnesota Vikings, the Chicago Bears, or the Dallas Cowboys?
Let's see. I'm going to say the Cowboys, final answer.
Charles, 49ers wide receiver and multi-purpose threat Deebo Samuel played college football at which SEC university?
Let me get the options.
They are South Carolina, Ole Miss, or Texas A&M.
I want to say it was South Carolina, so we'll do that final answer.
All right, Charles. Last question for you. Including this year's playoffs, how many playoff wins does Lamar Jackson have? Including this year's playoffs, how many playoff wins does Lamar have?
Let's go 3. Final answer.
All right. Gauntlet has been completed from Charles' standpoint. How you feeling?
Not good on this one again today.
Okay. Well, I don't think you felt good the last couple of days, right? So
I have not. Nope.
that worked out for you. Carey's making his way back in from the Cone of Silence.
Alrighty.
You ready to rock, Carey?
I'm ready to roll.
Jamie was worried about you. He said you looked ticked off.
Oh, no.
I was angry. He slammed down his headset. And
Just
You know,
my face,
I mean, I
fellas.
wasn't mad, Carey. I like a guy who's intense, who's competitive like that.
Yeah.
I am.
Don't let Anthony make it. He's painting a picture like it was negative.
I wasn't painting any picture. I was just stating facts. You know how you interpret things. That's on you.
angry. I am angry.
Oh,
It is
Charles has
Friday.
been.
Charles has been a thorn in our side.
It's
All
gotta
right.
stop at some point.
All right, CD. The wheel
Charles.
spun football. Football. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Question 1. Patrick Mahomes' first AFC championship game was against which team?
That would be New England. Final answer.
Yeah, it's New England.
Charles chiming in himself here.
That was
Charles, careful. Don't
D4
give it
jumped
away,
off
man.
sides, didn't get the ball back. Patriots win the game. They got an interception on that play. Final
I
answer.
mean, maybe you're right.
Maybe. We'll find out. Go ahead, Jamie.
Yeah, sorry. My phone went dead there for a second. Not dead. You know, the screen went away, Anthony. These things, these kids these days. Have
Yeah, it happens. Yeah.
All right, question 2. Carey, who was the last team that the Detroit Lions lost to in regular season?
that they lost
The
to
hell out of that one.
this
Let me
year.
try that again,
Okay.
Carey. I'm gonna buy a second chance here. Question 2. We'll act like it never happened. Who was the last team the Detroit Lions lost to in the regular season?
This past regular season, so 2023. They lost to the
Last team.
Cowboys, but did they play? That was weak. That made they said they were 12-4. Did they win their last game? I want to say we talked about that. That was like I'm trying to see. All right, Dallas Cowboys. Did they win their last game, Anthony? Dallas Cowboys, final answer. I feel like that's wrong. Gosh darn it.
Moving on to question 3. CD. Where did Deebo Samuel of the 49ers play his college football?
Debo, I know this. Debo went to. Did he go to South Carolina? South Carolina, final answer.
Question 4. Including this year's playoffs, how many playoff wins does Lamar Jackson have?
He won 1. They had 2. Including this year,
Including this year's playoffs.
he'd only won 1 up until this point. He was 1-3. And then they only played 1 game. 2. Final answer.
Okay, let's go over these. Charles, round 3 against Carey. Let's go over these. Patrick Mahomes' first AFC championship game was against which team? Charles, without the options, you said the Ravens. And then you said when Carey, after Carey said the Patriots, you said it was the Patriots. Jamie, correct answer is?
Well, Carey seemed very unsure of himself
He
at the
did.
time.
Yeah, I guess.
Charles said the Ravens. It was, in fact, the Patriots.
Yep. 2-0 Carey. Who was the last team the Detroit Lions lost to in the regular season? Charles, you said the Cowboys. Carey, after some waffling and then you hated yourself for it, you also said the Cowboys. Bradford, correct answer is?
How about those Cowboys?
It was the Cowboys. Shouldn't have lost that game,
Shouldn't
but, you know.
They did.
Counted as an L in the regular season record book. So,
It's a joke.
Charles needed the options. Carey did not, so 4-1. Carey with the lead. Deebo Samuel played college football at which SEC university? Charles, you said South Carolina. Carey, you said South Carolina. Jamie, correct answer is?
Oh, Carolina. South Carolina.
Carey did not need the options. Carey up 6-2. Including this year's playoffs, how many playoff wins does Lamar Jackson have? Charles, you said 3. Carey, you said 2. Bradford?
Lamar has dropped a playoff deuce so far.
Oh, boy. Charles?
You have chosen poorly.
You lose.
Charles, you didn't feel good about it. Carey, he swept the board. 8-2. 8-2. Didn't use any options. Got them all right. He swept it. So, hey, if you're gonna go out,
practice in the morning.
hey, if you're gonna go out, Charles, go out like that, right?
Oh yeah.
Good job,
Thanks,
Charles.
Yeah, good job. Thanks for listening. Thanks for playing.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend. There you go. Nice job, Carey.
Thank you, sir.
You were locked in today.
I was dialed in. Football.
Carey was angry.
Yeah, I was a little
Angry.
bit.
I mean, I
ready to
didn't
go.
hate it.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it at all. I liked it.
Had my
actually,
game face on, ready to roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice work there.
Thank you, sir.
Good. Poor Charles. He might never be the same after that.
He seemed okay.
I don't know about that, man. I think he was pretty rattled. He's like,
Well, he didn't like it, that's for sure. But
tomorrow night, he was looking to celebrate, apparently.
yeah, of course. He had a whole weekend he could have celebrated that.
Carey, was there ever any other chores for you entering championship weekend? You knew that you had to get it done.
I had to get it done.
Way to go.
I had to make sure we, as a team, as a unit,
Yes.
get us out of this hole. Make sure we're right back on track on Monday.
And you did. And we thank you. We asked for you. We asked for your mic drops today about the Cardinals. 4 weeks from tomorrow. 4 weeks from tomorrow, spring training for the Cards. Who is the most approved? More of your mic drops next on 101 ESPN.
This is Oscar Sundquist, and it's game day on your home of the Blues on 101 ESPN.
Blues Game Day is presented by SSM Health Orthopedics, the nationally recognized team for joint pain outcomes.
You might have heard Doug Voss and Safe Money Radio. His shows have been on several radio stations for many years. Now he can be heard every Sunday from 10 to 11 a.m. on 101 ESPN. He is super excited to get to the ESPN audience as he is a huge St. Louis sports fan. Doug is an expert at minimizing the impact of market volatility on his clients' assets. So catch Safe Money Radio every Sunday at 10 a.m. on 101 ESPN. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through D.H. Hill Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
Patrick of St. Charles is warm and comfortable this winter inside his 100-year-old home because Comfort Experts replaced his ancient furnace with something new and efficient. If you're feeling that chill, call Comfort Experts and get the same great service. Comfort Experts has been building customer relationships like Patrick's for over 30 years. So call the experts you can trust. Comfort Experts. They're experts at what they love, keeping you comfortable. Comfort Experts, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Two pros and one average show. You're listening to The Fast Lane on 101 ESPN, driven by Scrap Mart Metals Recycling.
4 weeks until spring training, huh? And I'm so excited that I just can't hide it. And I'm pretty sure you can hear the excitement in my voice. There is an excitement, though, for me, for the unknown. I'm looking forward to, like I said, the unknown. But one thing that is known is the outfield. And there's no particular player that needs something to prove. I think the whole outfield has something to prove, to me at least.
All right, there you go. You heard from Courtney. We're taking your mic drops today. 4 weeks from tomorrow, spring training starts. So the Cardinals, who has the most to prove? Courtney went with the outfield. Carey, it looked like you half agreed with that.
I don't have an issue with that. I mean, you got a second-year player in Jordan Walker. You got a Lars Nootbaar, who people assume is going to be a really good player, superstar at some point. He still has to prove that. And then you got a center fielder that probably should be playing second base. So, yeah, I could agree. He won a gold glove at second base.
You seen his range?
I don't know why he's in center field.
He might win a gold glove at center field.
Maybe.
He's good, Carey.
He's already won one, though.
Does it really bother you, though? Like, I've heard you bring it up before, but does it really bother? It really aggravates you? Like, analytics really bother you?
No, analytics drive me up a wall.
Yeah, so it's not maybe to that level.
Nah, analytics make me want to punch people in the face. Tommy Edman playing center field. Tommy Edman playing center field troubles me more than anything because he's a gold glove second baseman. And so I get it, but you have people that play the position. And so I don't know. I just feel like it's not a wasted position because it's not wasted. Him playing center field, he's going to do a really good job at it. But I think if I'm a better second baseman and have done that at the top of my field, I would assume that that's where I would want to be and probably be better for the team in that way.
So here's where I am on it, Karen. I'll just ask you a very honest question. Do you think your team is better overall with Tommy Edman in center field and Gorman's bat in the lineup, or would you rather have Dylan Carlson in center field with his bat and Tommy Edman at second base?
Well, which side of the plate is Dylan Carlson batting from? Because if he just decides...
I don't even care. Pick your best because it ain't that good.
He struggles left-handed, right? He's not great. And most pitchers are right-handed, so you would probably assume that he should bat right-handed more because he doesn't.
So you probably want that big left bat in the lineup, just saying.
Just
right?
No, not that.
You want to flip it.
Yeah. No.
A lot of righties.
No, you want
bat.
Gorman in the lineup.
Correct. Yeah, you want the left.
Gorman is in the lineup.
Big left bat.
Yes.
Gorman is in the lineup.
You know you want the big bat in the lineup.
No doubt. Yeah.
Gorman is in the lineup regardless. He's your DH. He's your everyday DH. No matter who's at second, no matter who's at center.
Arenado need a day off their feet, though.
Well, then that's why
that works.
Have you heard of Brendan Donovan and Matt Carpenter? These guys got 8 gloves in their bags. What the hell you think they're going to do?
Not disagreeing. I just think your best lineup. Your best lineup is with Tommy Edman at center field.
And who at second base? Brendan Donovan?
At me, Carey?
No, I'm laughing at Anthony because I told him I got 8 gloves in my bag. I'm ready for everything. I don't know about you guys.
We got bring the whole sporting goods store.
Just the whole, yeah.
You play for the Cardinals.
You just drive the U-Haul truck with all the needs. In the
Yeah,
back.
yeah. I played.
I drove a U-Haul truck too, Carey, but it was for different reasons. It's because I was moving all the time.
Me too.
It wasn't bring all your gloves. It was bring all your furniture.
Me too. Trust me.
Traded again.
Gotta go. Really? I just got here.
Guess what, Jamie? Somebody wants you. All right.
Yes. That was quick.
Yes.
You wanted me like an hour ago. All right, let's hear from.
That was then.
Let's hear from Andrew.
Two things, boys. Starting pitching and hitting with runners in scoring position left way too many guys on base last year. And the starting pitching, let's see how they come together with the new acquisitions for the 35-year and older club. You never know. Maybe experience wins. We'll see.
Man, was it necessary? You didn't do any ageism here.
Here's where I am with the age stuff, okay? Honestly, for real, is if this is your short-term solution, because you have all the young arms coming up and you got the Tink Henses and the Griseffos and the McGreevies and all this stuff, I don't hate the veteran arms. Like the game, the athletic world overall has changed a lot. Tom Brady can play till he's 57 years old and still contribute. When other guys are like Aaron Rodgers, I know he blew out his Achilles this year, but he's still able to contribute. We got older guys that can do this stuff. Like, we're not asking pitchers to be athletic. Like, we're not. We're not asking them to rip around the bases and to shag down, like, ground balls in the gap and all that stuff. No, we're asking them to take a step towards home plate and put the ball over the plate and be successful with it. I don't look at the age as a total negative. Now, if we're still relying upon these guys 2 years from now there's a problem. There's a problem if Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson are still 2 and 3 in your rotation 2 years from now.
Yeah. To Andrew's point, I think if you look at who's got the most to prove from a positional standpoint, to me, there's no question it's the starting pitching because of what happened last year.
Yeah.
I realize that Lance Lynn wasn't here and Sonny Gray wasn't here and Kyle Gibson wasn't here, but with how quickly things unraveled for you last year because of the starting pitching. That's the group for me. If you're just to pick a group, they have got to perform light years better than the group that was here last year. That is their opportunity and their burden. Again, they weren't here last year, but if you do not get better starting pitching, your offense is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. Last year proved that. We talk about the bullpen too, and all that. That's a component. Starter set the tone.
Yeah, I would say the bullpen got worn down because the starting pitching wasn't up to par. So it kind of became a problem because of the initial problem. So if you can get the starters to have success, pitch enough innings and not leave your bullpen where they're trotting the same guy out there every other night or every night, then you can have more success. But I agree, it has to be coupled with hitting with runners in scoring position, playing good defense. All of those things have to tie in, but it has to start with the starting pitching.
We'll look for Michael and Vincent at the top of the hours. We still have some mic drops. We're going to get to our Sports Six-Pack next. The Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646. If you have a question for us, send it to the Air Comfort Service text line. We'll have our Sports Six-Pack next in the Fast Lane.
Coverage of 101 ESPN is presented by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. GetJim.com.
Congratulations to Nick Popick from Energy, Illinois. He was just named this week's 101 ESPN Blues Fan of the Week.
Submit your pick now at 101ESPN.com to be the next Fan of the Week. Taking home Blues tickets and a $50 Buffalo Wild Wings gift card. 101 ESPN's Blues Fan of the Week is brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings, official member of This Bar Bleeds Blue, presented by Bud Light.
Jamie, you have purchased several houses in your time. I've, with my wife, purchased houses and condos, and one of the things that you want to get right and feel great about is getting that loan in place. And you want to feel good about the monthly payment. You want to feel good obviously about the interest rates. There's no better person to call with your most important purchase that you'll ever make in your lifetime than Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage Corporation. He understands the market. He understands where rates are going. He understands when the Federal Reserve meets what they're going to discuss and accurately predicts what they're going to do to help save you money over the course of your loan.
Yeah, Stewie's the best in the business. And it's not just because he gets you the best deals and all this stuff. The customer service is fantastic. It's that old school customer service that everybody deserves. When you pick up the phone, you call somebody, you want to feel like, one, they care, and two, they can help. And Stewie can do that every single time you pick up the phone and call him. He's our guy. He needs to be your guy. And all you have to do is pick up the phone, call him, text him. His personal cell phone number is 314-324-4440.
Again, 314-324-4440.
Call him, text him, day, night, weekend, doesn't matter. But when you do get a hold of him, tell him, say, hey, I heard you on the fast lane, and I heard you could help me. He loves hearing that because he definitely wants to help you. And Anthony, if you can't remember the number, what can they do?
You can always Google the Bagel Loan.
NMLS number 226715.
If you're thinking of trading your car to a dealership, stop. You don't have to trade your car to the same place you buy your car from. Get full retail value without the retail hassle at sellmycarstl.com. That's sellmycarstl.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
The verdict is in. STL Today is named under law 2023's best St. Louis law firm. Thank you, St. Louis, and we vow to continue our mission to not only deliver exceptional results, but to change the way companies do business and make St. Louis a safer place, one case at a time.
When you're injured, you need the best. Call Onder Law at 314 or 618-9000000.
ESPN Sports Center.
Thomas and the Note pull into Pacific Northwest. I'm Bradford Bruns, and this Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Braden Shen scored the game winner in Wednesday's Blues triumph over Vancouver, but Robert Thomas got in on the fun as well. Two more helpers for the assistant captain and opening drive guest, who talked about facing off with some familiar faces on the Seattle side tonight.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit weird playing against guys like that that you've won with, so... It's always. I mean, I've always enjoyed playing against friends and buddies and ex-teammates, and it'll be the same. But Definitely a little bit of a different feeling, that's for sure.
Jaden Schwartz, Vince Dunn, and the rest of the Kraken taking on St. Louis at 9 p.m. 101 ESPN brings you pregame coverage 1 hour earlier. Elsewhere on the NHL docket, the Kings travel to Central co-leader Colorado, and Vegas opposes the Rangers. New York leading the Metropolitan Division with 61 points. The SportsCenter update was driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Don't pull over. You're in the fast lane. Broadcasting live from the Car Shield studio on 101 ESPN.
I have a question.
It's time for the fast lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six Pack is now.
All right, time for the Sports Six Pack in the Fast Lane with Jamie Rivers and Carey Davis. I'm Anthony Stalter, Bradford Bruns with your questions.
Question number 1.
All right, guys, let's fire this one up. Let's keep with that football theme. Carey, this one specifically for you. What is the best time, or I guess you could say, what is the usual time for an away team to fly out for a game? Does it change at all when the postseason arrives?
Well, no, I can hear myself now. It stays the same. Unless you're going out, unless you're on East Coast team traveling out to the West Coast, sometimes those guys leave a little bit earlier, a day earlier. But normally we would leave Saturday, let's say noon, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock maybe. And then, you land in whatever city you're in, go to the hotel, have meetings, eat food, have more meetings, eat more food, sleep, get ready for the game.
Out.
It's depending on who you are. Depending on who you are. But yeah, it would be the day before the game. We usually left Saturdays if it was a Sunday game, and noon, 1 o'clock.
Question number 2.
Carey, it's you once again. If Jim Harbaugh ends up winning a Super Bowl or more with the Los Angeles Chargers, where does that put him in the pantheon of all-time football coaches?
That's a good question. I mean, he's taken the 49ers to a Super Bowl, didn't get the job done, was unable to beat his brother in the Super Bowl, won a national championship with Michigan after, being in the playoffs for 3 years in a row and finally getting it done. I think Jim Harbaugh is a really good coach. He's an odd person, from what I can tell. But I think he's a damn good football coach. And so where people rank in terms of greatest of all time in terms of coaches, I think you got to win more than one. I'm still on the Bill Belichick, Bill Walsh, those guys. It's just some guys that have won multiple championships. Chuck Noll. But yeah, you put him in the conversation. Nick Saban is there. You have to win multiple, and by multiple I mean 3, 4, 5, 6.
For
greatest of all time.
But you could put him. Would you put him in? I mean, if he won 2, it's still that's a tall task. But if he won 2, he's in Jimmy Johnson's category. Because didn't Jimmy win 2 in a national title?
Yep.
So he would be on the same.
Jimmy Johnson doesn't get talked about as the greatest coach of all time, though.
That's what I was going to say. Is Jimmy Johnson in the pantheon? I don't think he is.
He doesn't get talked in that way.
He should be.
He's got great hair. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, he does have that.
I mean, he rebuilt the Cowboys with one trade,
and then they traded his ass out of there.
That's because Jerry Jones wanted all the credit. It's not Jimmy's fault.
Is it because of the lack of longevity, relatively speaking?
For Jimmy Johnson? Yeah, because if you win 3 out of 3 and 4 years, which he probably would have, Barry Switzer came in and took that last one, you're talking about one of the greatest decades in sports history with one of the greatest coaches. But I think, those 2 and then not getting that third one, I think you need to win 3 in that field to start, to be considered in that conversation.
Question number 3.
This one may take a minute to unpack. Gentlemen, with the rate at which NIL business is booming, how different is our sports landscape going to look in 5 to 10 years?
Well, okay, let's take Marvin Harrison Jr., for example. So Marvin Harrison Jr., some thought that he would go back to Ohio State because he was guaranteed a certain amount of money.
Mm-hmm. $25 million.
Yeah.
20 to $25 million for 1 year.
That's a lot.
ILLINI. I'd have been in orange and blue. You better believe it.
That's a lot of do-re-mi.
Yeah.
But it still pales in comparison to what he's going to make in the NFL.
Yes.
All told.
And
Does
no.
it?
Yes. Because $25 million for 1 year, he wouldn't make that until his 5th year of the deal, which if he'd have took the $25 million next season and then became a rookie the following season, you got 25 more million than you had.
But 25 million, though, first of all, was he even going to get 25 million?
I said it was 20 to 25 million. I don't know.
Anthony, we're operating on the premise that he was.
Yeah.
What? But
You
why?
can't ask a question
That's
like
what
that.
that's
now
what
and
the
say, well,
number.
I doubt he was getting.
That's
that.
what the number
He
said.
wasn't going to get 25 million to go back to Ohio State.
20 to 25. Yeah.
Even if it's 20, I'll give you the low end. It's not going to be 20. He was going to. He was going.
If you were going to get 20,
Carey said 20 to 25 million. I didn't mention the number.
I did say. I said 20 to 25. But if you were going to get 20 to 25 million, you definitely got to consider it for 1 year.
Let's say it's 5 million though, which is probably more realistic.
No, I can go make that in the NFL.
Exactly.
And start my clock.
Exactly.
Get closer to pension and all the good things that come along with it.
He said clock. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
That's what I heard.
We're good. But in terms of like changing the landscape,
there's no telling what Jamie heard.
Well, that's where his mind wants to go. And you're right, you just never know. But I don't know if it's going to change the entire landscape like we think. But these deals were going on anyways. I mean, maybe not to this degree, this level, but
no, they weren't getting.
They weren't getting this amount of money, but now it's up front.
No, their aunts and uncles were.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
What's the running back for that was at USC with Reggie Bush? No, with him.
Lindell White.
Lindell White.
Yeah.
He was on a podcast. Said he got an apartment, and when he moved in, there was a brown paper bag with about $200,000 just sitting there.
Yeah, there you go.
Didn't know where it came from. Mm-hmm. Didn't matter.
It's a happy accident. It fell from the ceiling.
Sometimes that happens in new apartments when you walk in. Yeah. It's just cash laying on the floor, and you just take it and you just accept it as a gift from God.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? Put out a notice?
God was involved there.
You put out a notice, and now you're going to have everybody come over trying to claim it. It's safer if you just hang on to it.
Much safer that way.
Right.
Yeah.
You take care of that until the owner shows up.
I just picture some of these kids getting like going in like Lindell White's talking about, going into an apartment, right? $200,000 in a brown paper bag. Then I picture Jamie Rivers in Russia in a boiler room. Trying to protect his like $30,000, whatever you were making at the time, so that the same people that gave you to play hockey there wouldn't try to rob you back to get the money back.
Yeah.
So, Carey, that's the two differences.
Let's put it this way: it'd be like he walked in, saw the $200,000 on the ground on the table. And the moment he picked it up, somebody bust through the door trying to take it back. That's kind of what I was dealing with.
That's incredible.
Oh man!
I turned into Jason Bourne overnight.
He sleeps standing up with one eye open.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I had weapons under my bed. My one door connected to the outside. People would get hammered in the park and start banging on the doors.
Oh man!
My first night there, I jumped up and I was like, didn't know what the hell to do. So I started sleeping with weapons underneath my bed.
Oh, man.
True story.
Got to stay safe.
That's crazy. All right. We only got Jamie for one more segment. Right? You're out after this, right, Jamie?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Jamie's got to cover Blues and Kraken for Bally Sports Midwest. So let's get to some keys to victory. I won't put a number on it, Jamie.
87 felt good to me. I don't know.
I kind of liked 87 as well, but
it's a good year.
It's up to Jamie. How many keys to victory tonight for the Blues? Might be 1, might be 92. We don't know. We'll find out. Plus, we'll have the first goal of the game after Carey cashed the other night. So Jamie,
nice Carey, by the way. I was thinking about you. I was like, damn, look at him go.
Jamie with 3, Carey with 2. I got 1. Marsh has 1, and Bradford can pick for Marsh when we do our first goal of the game next on 101 ESPN.
Staples Print Big Sale means the more you print, the more you save. Get $20 off your print purchase of $100 or more, $50 off your print purchase of $200 or more, and $100 off your print purchase of $300 or more. Ends 2/10/24. See staples.com/print for details. Print more, save more at Staples.
Pure Performance, your one-stop shop for all aftermarket accessories. They're the best in the business. They've got exterior accessories. They've got tons of things like fender flares. They've got the side steps. They've got body kits, leveling kits, lift kits. Unbelievable selection of the off-road and oversized tires and wheels. And they also have so much more available. Under the hood, they've got performance chips and things like that. Anything you need for your vehicle, Pure Performance has got you covered. And the one thing I can tell you is go visit their warehouse. 25,000 square foot facility located right in St. Peter's, right off Highway 70. Walk in, ask for Shelby. Tell her Jamie Rivers sent you, and she's going to take great care of you. And don't forget also that they sell all kinds of tires and wheels. I'm sending my son there. Next week, Big Haas is going to get some new tires put on his SUV, and Pure Performance is going to take amazing care of him because they always do. And the technicians, they absolutely work their magic on anything that you pick out. When you show up to get your vehicle, you're absolutely going to love it. So please, again, stop by, see everything that they have available to you. But if you can't get there in person, at least get there online. Visit them at pureperformance.com. That's pure, P-U-R, performance.com.
Strap yourself in. You're in the fast lane, driven by Scrap Mart Metals Recycling on 101 ESPN.
Blues hockey tonight against the Kraken. Jamie Rivers will have the coverage for you on Valley Sports West. Of course, we'll have the radio side of it for you. 101 ESPN, the Blues Radio Network. Puck drops at 9. We'll have the pregame for you at 8. Jamie, What are our keys to victory tonight for the Blues so they go for 4 straight?
All right, guys. Well, we talked about this already in the show, and this is going to be my biggest focal point of the night, and it's limiting the turnovers. The Blues have to absolutely not turn the puck over, whether it's at center ice or at the Kraken blue line. They love to turn the puck up the ice with speed. I call it the old turn and burn, and you better be careful because then you're playing defense the rest of the night or most of the night, and that's not optimal for the success of the team. Key number 2, pucks in deep. So along the lines of limiting the turnovers, you got to be pucks in deep. This is a defensive core for the Kraken that like to get the puck and move it up the ice. You look at Larson, you look at Dunn, you look at Schultz. These guys are all guys that like to be up in the play and joining the attack. And if you make them go back for pucks, it makes it a lot harder. And if you make them defend while playing in their own zone, it tuckers you out a little bit. Takes a little bit of that offensive flair out of your game. So for me, pucks in deep will also be a key. Key number 3, lots of traffic in front of the net. I think that the Blues have learned here over the last handful of games that many bodies to the net create many opportunities offensively. And against the Kraken tonight is no different. Jake Neighbors, Oscar Sundqvist, Pavel Buchnevich, all of you guys, Brandon Saad, get to the front of the net. It will pay off for you, especially against some of these defensemen. They're a little smaller for the Kraken, maybe not as physical, apart from Jamie Alexiak, who's an absolute mutant out there. But stay away from him, okay? Key number 4, defend the middle of the ice. This team has great team speed. The Kraken has great team speed, and they like to try and get the pucks to the middle of the ice quickly. They do have guys that will get to the front of the net, including smaller players like Jaden Schwartz and Matty Beniers, and these guys, they love to get to that inside ice. The Blues are going to have to defend the middle of the ice. Those are my keys.
All right, let's do the first goal of the game.
Let's go, boys.
We need you to score more goals. Get those loose pucks.
Thomas to Carey. Score! Goal! No big deal. Game winner.
All right, Jamie, you're still leading us with 3 goals. Carey with 2. I have 1. Marsh has 1. Bradford's going to pick for Marsh tonight. Jamie?
Okay.
Who you going with?
Yeah, tonight, I feel like it's time, and I think that Robert Thomas gets first goal tonight. I feel like he's been a part of the offense here from the outside, looking in a little bit. He's been moving the puck and some assists. But I think tonight is the night where he busts out here, gets a goal, like 2 assists or something like that. But I think he gets the first goal.
All right. Carey?
I'm feeling like it's a Blues defenseman for some reason. Just feel. I know you like to hear that, right, Jamie? You enjoy
I love it
when the D scores. Torrey Krug.
Well said.
Torrey Krug.
Can I recommend Justin Falk?
Is Torrey Krug out? No, Justin Falk is out.
Yeah.
No, I don't want Justin Falk.
I play to win, Carey. I play to win.
I'm going to go with Torrey.
All right.
Thank you.
Bradford.
It's not quite chalk, at least this season. Jordan Kyrou a couple of nights ago, guys, against Vancouver. He logged over 17 minutes of ice time yet again. Didn't register a shot on goal, though. You have the feeling that he's going to come out this evening in Seattle and be the aggressor. Expect about 4 to 5 shots on goal, the first of which is going to result in that tally.
All right, hey, give me the hot hand here. Braden Shen. He's got 3 goals in his last 5 games, allowing 11 shots. He's blocked 4. He's got 1 power play goal. Short-handed goal. He's just scoring. I took him the other night when he scored second, so that didn't do me any good. But I'm going to take Braden Shen tonight. First goal of the game.
Nice pick.
Okay, thank you. There you have it. First goal of the game. All right, Jamie. We'll see you on Monday,
you guys
man.
want my pick?
Oh, yeah. What do you got for bet the board?
We don't want to pick for you.
What did you have last night?
Not the right one.
Yeah, did we all come up short last night?
I lost.
I had the Islanders beating the Canadians. It was 3-0 before I could even turn the TV.
That's right. It was first. Montreal hung 3 on you.
Yeah, they did. But then the Islanders did fight back and end up losing 4-3, but still, not great.
I had the Flames scoring over 3 goals. Columbus was the team that scored over 3 in that matchup. So I came up short.
Yeah, I had the 76ers beating the Pacers.
They lost outright, didn't they?
Yep, they sure did.
I don't remember what
Tyrese Halliburton even playing.
Marshy was golden, though.
Marsh got
the one to come through. Yeah, he went on the hockey side as well, and he was saved by the fact that the Ducks and the Stars went to OT. The ultimate goal actually resulted in goal number 7. 6.5 was the number. They went over.
Okay. Good job there, Marsh.
Marshy's tied with me now.
I think so.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's got 8 points now. Yeah.
Going into the final week. This is not Carey. We need to go here.
Wes.
All right. My pick tonight, the Los Angeles Kings are spiraling down in the standings, and their reward for that is they visit the Colorado Avalanche in Colorado. But that's not my pick. I'm going with the Florida Panthers over the Penguins. -130 for the Panthers. Matthew Tkachuk has 26 points his last 15 games. Physically, they've been pummeling teams. They put an absolute beating on your Coyotes the other night, Anthony.
My Coyotes.
And I think that the Penguins, I don't think they match up well against the Panthers. So I've got the Panthers winning this one.
All right, there you have it. So Jamie's bet the board. We'll do ours later on in the show. Jamie, have a great call tonight. We'll see you on Monday.
All right, guys, have a great one.
Thank you. There you go. This is Jamie Rivers. Final hour of the show coming up. More of your Cardinals mic drops. We'll get into the NFC Championship game. Biggest question of the day. Fade or follow, all ahead in the final hour of the show. But more of your Cardinals mic drops next.
Text us anytime at 314-399-9646 on the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation text line on 101 ESPN.
The IRS definitely ramped up operations since the pandemic slowed them down, and activity only increases from here. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. If you're currently under audit or you haven't paid your taxes in the past, now's the time to call the Lance Story Law Firm. The IRS has a published Taxpayer Bill of Rights, which says you have the right to retain legal representation. Because IRS problems are legal problems, and the Lance Story Law Firm focuses specifically on addressing IRS issues for our clients. It's all we do. We get out in front of the IRS, devise the best resolution plan, and work to make sure you're able to take advantage of every program you're qualified to receive. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure company, call the Lance Story Law Firm. We're local, located right here in St. Louis. Our visit LanceDruryLaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Drury Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Your exclusive home of St. Louis Blues hockey. WXOS HD1 East St. Louis, 101 ESPN. You're listening to The Fast Lane, broadcasting live from the Car Shield studio on 101 ESPN.
I think it's got to be Dylan Carlson, because it sounds like Tommy Edman, may or may not be ready for opening day. Probably leaning towards not going to be ready. So the guy that we all thought was going to be your fourth outfielder, now all of a sudden he's going to get a shot. And if Dylan Carlson can take advantage of this opportunity, I think it definitely helps you defensively, but certainly it helps you from a lineup perspective as well. It just makes your lineup that much deeper. So talking about guys who have the most to prove, I think Dylan Carlson's got to be near, if not at the top of that list.
That was from Michael. Appreciate you chiming in here for the mic drop theme of the day, which is that in 4 weeks from tomorrow, the Cardinals will head to spring training. Who is under... Well, I was going to say who's under the most pressure. It's actually who's got the most to prove. And, if you're just going to just isolate one player based on playing time, opportunities, where they are in their career, prospect-wise in the past, Michael nailed it. It's Dylan Carlson. When you factor in all of that, Dylan Carlson right now projects to be your fourth outfielder. But as Michael noted, Tommy Edman is banged up. He's got the wrist injury. They'll probably play it safe with him in spring training. And it's going to open up possibilities for Dylan Carlson. We can get into the pitching aspect. I got cute with the Mo under, the most to prove category. But if you're just going to do one player in a vacuum here and talk about most to prove in spring training, Michael's right. It's probably Dylan Carlson.
Yeah, we talked about him. If he does all of the things that we think he can do, or he has been projected to do, or the player that he was his rookie year, then that alleviates a lot of issues for the Cardinals, in my opinion. It allows you to play your best second baseman at second base. It allows you to put one of your better athletes in center field, which I think is awesome. So it just, for me, him playing well, obviously it's great for him, but it also helps this team out in a really good way.
And Dylan Carlson has no choice here but to be opportunistic, because a couple of weeks ago, we're not even having this conversation. It's irrelevant because given the way in which you would like to see so many fans and so many outsiders, so many observers want to see the Cardinals assemble their starting nine this year, you're not going to the reserve well that much. You wouldn't ordinarily, right? You want Jordan Walker, you want Lars Nootbaar, and conceivably Tommy Edman, when he's right, to get the lion's share of reps out there. So really, for more reasons than usual, it is incumbent upon Dylan Carlson to show out a bit, I would say, in spring training, because otherwise, yes, the defensive element here, you can't ignore it. Notwithstanding, Alec Burleson would be in a position to maybe get more of those ABs too. Dylan Carlson obviously gets first dibs because of his ability and his versatility in the outfield, but he's not hitting. If he's not hitting, specifically against right-handed pitching, what's he going to do for you?
Yeah, I don't want to see...
Just bat right-handed, man.
I don't want to see Alec Burleson in the outfield again. They did that.
He's not a center fielder, which means you got to put Lars in center and he's in left. And
you need good defense, period.
But what if he develops a little more pop? What if we start to actually see that and he becomes dangerous in the lower half?
Bradford?
That would be enticing.
Bradford, I don't want to see him in the outfield. All right?
Mix and match a DH.
I don't want to see the mixing matching.
It's happening.
I don't know why you're forcing this.
It is going to happen.
You signed Matt Carpenter. Alec Burleson, quite frankly, is done.
I don't know that's how that works.
Okay. All right, fair enough. All right, more of your mic drops here. Let's get to Vincent. He's got a thought on the offense when it comes to who or what has the most to prove.
Hey, guys. As far as who's got the most to prove in this upcoming season, I would say it's the offense. No matter what you think of the pitching staff or the offseason moves, this team leans on offense. If they're going to win, it's going to be because of offense, and that's how they've done it. We can agree with it. We can disagree with it, but we have a patchwork rotation and what really should be a top 10 offense. So, Paul Goldschmidt, are you old, or are you going to figure it out? Nolan Arenado, was it Colorado, or are you going to put together a MVP-type season? Jordan Walker, really good rookie year. Need you to grow up quickly. But that's just my opinion. Thanks, guys.
I don't think you can do anything without pitching. We tried last year. It's going to be hard to outscore teams every single night. You're going to have. I get it. The hitters, you want them to have success. You want them to hit with runners in scoring position. You want them to get runners on second with less than 2 outs. All of the great things that come with scoring runs. But if you are unable to dominate on the mound, you got to have a guy that dominates. Not every time, not every fifth day, but you got to have a guy that can be a stopper, that will go out there and make sure nothing bad happens to us today, because I'm not going to allow it. And it starts with the pitching. And so if you don't have those guys, because other teams got those guys, which means the Cardinals aren't going to offensively be able to batter and bruise teams every single day.
Vincent omitted one name. And Stoltz, I know you don't want to play the mix and match game at designated hitter. So with that in mind,
Bradford, you're not listening.
No, follow me here. Let me guide you along the path.
Please.
So, having said that, Wilson Contreras is going to be receiving, we would think, all of the reps, or virtually all of the reps, as much as you can in Major League Baseball as a catcher in 2024. Wilson Contreras was not mentioned. Here's what I find interesting. In the second half of last season, I would contend that you saw the best offensive version of Wilson Contreras that we're going to get. Now, with more of that onus every single day being placed on him, the defensive responsibilities, learning, yes, they're veterans coming in Gray, Gibson, as well as Lynn. But you're essentially learning the better part of a whole new staff. There is a lot of stuff to balance, a lot of different elements there. Right. And yet, you still need Wilson Contreras to be the same offensive performer, if not better. That's where a lot of pressure is coming from, in my opinion, and that is not a narrative that we've explored this offseason.
So not only are you trying to jam Alec Burleson into this lineup, you are also suggesting that Wilson Contreras is going to take a step back this year offensively.
It's open to interpretation.
Well, I don't think
this is a lot, Brad. For the last 5 minutes, I like not
Wilson.
liking your attitude.
I like Wilson. I like him even more after figuring out and finding out what we learned about him.
Yeah.
From his teammates and former teammates in some cases about what happened last year. I don't have any issues with Wilson Contreras. I think you saw what you were going to see out of him. He's going to do a great job at the plate. He can do a better job behind the plate. I think some of it, more than anything, is the framing of pitches, which Yachty was so good at. If you jerk it one...
Pause.
If you jerk the ball back one way, it's gonna be noticeable for the umpire rather than just sliding it there. Right. So, those are some things that you can work on, and maybe Yadier being around a little bit more can assist with that role. But the lineup for me, I think you got guys, if as long as Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt hit in the manner in which they have shown throughout their entire career, you'll be fine.
Stoltz, seriously here, how much do you want to see? How much really, though? How much do you want to see? How much should we see from Ivan Herrera?
That's a good question. Really? I think if Wilson Contreras catches, I think we had this conversation last week, and I'd mentioned this. So you get 6 games typically during a week, right? You get one off day, whether it's Monday or Thursday. You typically get one off day, so you get 6 games. If Wilson Contreras caught 4 of those and DH the other 2, and Ivan Herrera caught twice, I think that's pretty good. I think you have to get Ivan Herrera more reps behind the plate. Now maybe
40 games?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that's too big of a number.
I don't either.
I think you need to get the young kid going. This is a perfect opportunity with a guy that in Wilson Contreras that isn't the best defensive catcher. You've got the DH. There's really no excuse not to get Ivan Herrera 40 to 45 starts.
And maybe more. I mean, you can still keep Wilson in the lineup as a DH. You could have him catching 100 games and Ivan Herrera catching 50 to 60. I think that would. I don't think that would be terrible.
I just don't.
110 games, I think, would be better.
I just don't understand from where these DH at bats are coming.
That's
Where?
right, Yvonne.
I mean, in all honesty, do you legitimately think that Nolan Gorman is going to be playing daily
Every
at second
day.
base?
No, he's DHing every day. And Brendan Donovan is going to be your second baseman because Tommy Edman is your center fielder.
And yet the maintenance days, they pile up for Goldschmidt,
That's
for
why you
Arenado.
got Matt Carpenter.
In all seriousness, why did they sign Matt Carpenter?
He's going. Somebody needs a day off. Somebody needs a day off.
But Matt Carpenter is a left-handed bat. You've got Burleson, who's a left-handed bat that's on your bench. You've got somebody's not going to be
play
playing
third base.
No, he's
okay.
a DH.
Well, then that's why.
You like Matt Carpenter a third?
I don't know.
Oh, boy.
I'm trying to reason,
You
solve, problem solve. That's why we're here, isn't it?
Well, do better. I don't like your answers.
I didn't sign them. I'm just trying to figure out what the role is going to be.
From a roster standpoint, I don't understand it.
You know what?
Like it all.
Here's the thing, Anthony. And I don't know what Matt Carpenter's role. I would like to know what he was told his role is going to be. Because to sign, obviously, as a player, we want to play. Even the older you get, you understand that maybe that might not be your role every day, but we'll get you 60 games somehow, 70 games somehow. With as many people that take days off and how the people get injured.
Why are guys taking so many days off?
But people are going to get injured, Anthony.
This isn't Atlanta, Anthony.
It's
They
not.
play every
We don't
day.
play 160. What is wrong with you? You think we're going to play 155 games with one
what's
guy?
Interesting about, what's interesting about the four teams that are playing on Sunday?
Day.
What's interesting about the four
about
teams that
those
play
guys?
on Sunday? They practice.
They do.
They practice deep into the year. And yeah, they're dealing with injuries.
But they're still playing.
They're tough.
Yeah.
They're physical.
So are you telling me if
they're
you
not
want
the
to be
Eagles who stopped practicing 2 months ago and got bounced?
You're
quickly.
telling me in order to be a championship team, you got to play and practice?
Yes.
Who the hell decided that?
I've got a theory for you. I really do.
I know you agree with me.
Role definition for Matt Carpenter. It's going to be a role that we have not seen actually play out for the Cardinals or many other major league clubs for over a decade, and that is the classic Lenny Harris, Manny Mota-esque specific by pitcher pinch hitter late in games. He is that pop off the bench, and you get him an AB or two every couple of series, and he is relegated to that. What is the matter with as much?
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't have a problem with that.
Honestly, Bradford, nice job.
Lean into one, pull it, sell out, swing for the stands.
Dorn that thing.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Roger Dorn?
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't good at third base.
You keep trying to put him at third. You keep trying to put him at third. I don't know why. Bradford's talking about pinch hitting.
Oh, okay. Well, I think Roger Dorn. Get in front of the damn ball, Dorn.
Didn't this guy used to pitch you inside? Go lean into one.
Better catcher, Wilson Contreras or Tom Berenger, and I'll see myself out.
Tom Berenger, definitely. Jake Taylor.
He was gritty.
Gritty.
He was gritty.
You see him bunt that ball and lay it out to first base.
I always love the slow-mo. I mean, that movie is so funny. Like, that is held up funny.
I love it.
But at the end, when he lays that thing down, and you got that slow-mo, and he's got the helmet comes off, and his hair is gone, and he's like,
giving it everything he got, man.
2 bad knees. I love it. It's slow. That music is perfect as he's running down
He's rounding third.
Hey, maybe before long you'll see Wesley Snipes in the form of Victor Scott.
There you go.
In the loo.
Nice.
Like it.
All right. We talked about the AFC Championship game earlier. Let's get into the NFC Championship. The Lions, the 49ers. We have the latest on Deebo Samuel and how much he impacts this game next on 101 ESPN.
This is Nick Letty, and it's the Blues Game Day on 101 ESPN.
Blues Game Day is presented by SSM Health Orthopedics, your nationally recognized team for knee and shoulder pain relief.
Open up your 101 mobile app for your chance to win free tickets to see Sammy Hagar, bringing the best of all world summer tour to Hollywood Casino Amphitheater on August 31st. Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Sammy Hagar will be joined by Michael Anthony, Joe Santriani, and Jason Bonham for a huge show this August at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater, including special guests Loverboy. Get all the ticket details and get entered to win those free tickets for the show right now, either at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 mobile app.
You're in the fast lane on 101 ESPN, driven by Scrap Mart Metals Recycling.
The NFC Championship game. Lions, 49ers, and it should be a good one. Deebo Samuel, officially active, or, well, we don't know the actives yet, but he's not on the injury report.
He's practicing.
He's practicing. It's going to be a situation where whether or not he can tolerate, I don't know what tolerate is, tolerate the pain. But Kyle Shanahan said that Deebo Samuel's shoulder was a full go in Friday's practice and will play in Sunday's NFC Championship game against the Lions. If we were going to attack this from Detroit's standpoint, since they're the underdog, what's the path to victory, in your opinion?
Well, be explosive on offense. You got a lot of guys that can make plays. Amon-Ra St. Brown should get targeted 12 times. You should throw the ball to Sam Laporta. He is a mismatch, a matchup nightmare for defensive backs and safeties. And then you got Jahmyr Gibbs and Montgomery. Be able to allow those guys to find space in the running game, and Jahmyr can get space in the passing game. So you got a lot of weapons. Utilize them. Jamison Williams, if you can get him downfield to stretch the field and keep the defense honest, do all of those things. And on the defensive side, man, get after the quarterback. Aiden Hutchinson got to have a game. They have to get after the quarterback, and they have to try as best as they can to limit the big runs. First down runs, you need to tackle Christian McCaffrey in the backfield. You need to get him down after a 2-yard gain. If he's able to get a 6-yard, 8-yard gain, now you're running the risk of play action pass on second down. You're running the risk of the entire playbook being open for San Francisco. So first down, getting after the ball carrier, getting them on the ground, get after the quarterback when they drop back and pass, and limit the big plays in that offense from the San Francisco 49ers.
CD, speaking of the pass rush from Detroit, you know what you're going to get from Hutchinson. He is the constant. He is the stalwart. He has 8 sacks in the past 4 games. But in so many other respects, the rest of that Lions defense, quite honestly, it's a wild card situation. Now, this is a team that does really love to blitz, though, on first and second down. What have you seen in terms of your film study relating to Brock Purdy as far as his ability to throw a little more off platform? How can he still be effective?
Well, because of their run game and how well they run the football, if you force that team to have to drop back 5-step drop, 7-step drop, where he has to read the defense and decide where the ball needs to go, and you're getting pressure in his face, I think that puts him in jeopardy. I think that puts their team in jeopardy. When you are able to create pressure, I mean, that's any quarterback. There are throws that Brock Purdy doesn't make that I think some other quarterbacks would make. But if you get pressure on him or create pressure up the middle and allow your secondary to not have to cover for 4 or 5 seconds, and you can get after the quarterback with pressure, Aiden Hutchinson creates a lot of pressure. So, I think that's the way to defeat them. Stop them from running the ball, first and foremost. You cannot allow San Francisco to get going in the run game, because if they do, they will take your soul away from you. Period. They will. They will run the ball at you and be more physical and be tougher than you. And Dan Campbell, we know that that's not what he believes in. They believe in being the most physical team. So stop the run first, and then all other things tend to fall in place. If you can get after the quarterback, you will have success in this game.
What's interesting about this matchup is that Detroit's offensive line is outstanding. They've got one of the best O-lines in football, and, of course, San Francisco can generate a pretty good pass rush with Bosa. Mm-hmm. But the Green Bay Packers also kind of outlined how to move the ball against San Francisco, and that's get to the edges and run the ball. I mean, Aaron Jones had a really good game last week. If Jahmyr Gibbs can get going. I think this is a Gibbs game. It's not a Montgomery game. Montgomery might be used on the goal line,
right?
But if you're going to run the ball, you're going to run the ball at the edges with Gibbs and get him involved in the passing game as well. Other than that, I really do think San Francisco can be thrown on outside. Like Fred Warner's going to cover the whole damn field, but he's typically going to stay in the middle. You're going to know where he's at. So I don't know if this is. I hope the local product Sam Laporta has a big game. He's had an incredible season. I don't know how he matches up, if they're going to line him up with the safety or if it is Warner. That's going to be a tough draw.
It is.
They're going to have to come over the middle.
But if you do that, then your middle, you got Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah. I imagine they'll probably go Warner with Brown, and then probably one of their safeties.
Mismatch.
Fred Warner's outstanding.
It is, but the reason why Detroit has been so good is because when you are able to get the ball to all 5 eligible receivers, it's problematic for a defense. There's just not enough people to rush and enough people to cover. Amon-Ra St. Brown should garner 2 people. 4 eyeballs should be on him at all time. Sam Laporta, if you're going to put 4 eyeballs on him too, now who else is going to cover the other 3 eligibles? It just makes it difficult. Reynolds has had a really good postseason. Yeah. They are because they have so many weapons. It's hard to defense them, and so you have to make a decision. Am I going to try to get after the quarterback? Probably should, because if you pressure Jared Goff, we talked about it. Maybe not. Probably, So that might be.
He hasn't had that golf moment in a while.
He did, man. He threw the ball backwards.
Oh, that's right.
Who was that? It wasn't Tampa Bay. Who was the Rams?
Yeah, it was against the Rams. It was a wild card game.
Like, get this out of my. What are you doing, Jared?
Yeah.
Like, put pressure on him. But again, if you don't pressure these quarterbacks, they're too good to sit back in the pocket and be able to pick you apart.
The Lions absolutely need to get a lead, too. That is the way to beat the 49ers. If you go back to the three losses,
they can't run the football.
They can't run the football. Everything's got to be set up through that run game. This is why Kyle Shanahan has such a horrendous record in the fourth quarter when he's a coordinator or head coach. It's because that offense isn't as effective. It's not that it's not good, but that is not a team that are like, oh, this is a great offense. You can come back against anybody. No, you can't. They need to stay on script, and then once they have a lead, the full playbook is open. All those formations, they typically run the same play out of different formations.
Yeah,
that's the key to the offense. But if you don't have to respect that because you have the lead, San Francisco's a different team.
And so many eyes, understandably, are going to be on St. Brown. They're going to be on, obviously, Laporta. But, Carey, what is it about Reynolds, in your estimation, especially in the last few weeks of the regular season, as far as one-on-one ability there, his ability to maybe be that secondary vertical threat for Goff? Because, Stalter, as you have said over the last couple of weeks from time to time, too, perhaps San Francisco's D, especially that second level and in the secondary, more vulnerable than a lot of just general observers would take away from this season.
Well, he's finding a way to get open. I mean, again, when you have that many guys that can make plays, if Jamison Williams on the field, if Reynolds is on the field, and Amon-Ra St. Brown is on the field, your best corner, if you are in man, is going to go to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Your next best corner is probably going to go to Jamison because he can flat out fly, and you don't want to get beat over the top, which means your third best player is covering the third best receiver, and generally the third best receiver is going to be better than that third cornerback. So it's a mismatch because of what they can do. And again, if you decide to play zone and drop people into coverage, they got guys that can attack and find holes and find ways to get open. It's creating pressure on Jared Goff to make him uncomfortable in the pocket. And if you do that, you'll have success. If you allow them to sit back there, if you allow them to get on the edge with the running game, you're going to have a long day because we saw, you are correct, Anthony, we saw the blueprint last week. Green Bay should have won that game. This game should be played in Detroit this weekend versus Green Bay. Green Bay gave that game away more than I feel that San Francisco went and took it back. Yeah. And so just those things, if Green Bay showed you the path to beating them at home, you can say the rain, the weather, all of that, both teams playing in it. Green Bay played a better game for 58 minutes of that game and then couldn't finish the deal. Yep. So Detroit, a better roster, a better team, maybe a better quarterback right now, maybe not in the future. But they should have an opportunity. I don't have a pick yet for this one, though.
Well, you better get one because we got the biggest question of the day, and the biggest question of the day is going to be, what's your pick? And we'll have the lines for you, too, next on 101 ESPN.
Coverage of 101 ESPN is presented by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. GetJim.com. BK and Ferrario are asking their listeners to try and beat the Blues during their weekly special giveaway. Random selected listeners will compete to score a signed Blues puck and a pair of tickets to a Blues home game. The Beat the Blues weekly giveaway with BK and Ferrario is powered by Comfort Experts, your independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer. Learn more now at 101ESPN.com.
You might have heard Doug Voss and Safe Money Radio. His shows have been on several radio stations for many years. Now he can be heard every Sunday from 10 to 11 a.m. on 101 ESPN. He is super excited to get to the ESPN audience as he is a huge St. Louis sports fan. Doug is an expert at minimizing the impact of market volatility on his clients' assets. So catch Safe Money Radio every Sunday at 10 a.m. on 101 ESPN. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through D.H. Hill Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
You want to say something? Then say it. Use the mic drop feature in the 101 ESPN app. Search the 101 ESPN app now in the App Store or Google Play. 101 ESPN Sports Center.
Blues splash into Seattle. I'm Bradford Bruns, and this Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Tonight at 9 o'clock on 101 ESPN, St. Louis aiming for win number 4 in a row. The Kraken will host Braden Shin and company at Climate Pledge Arena. The Notes captain has notched 8 points in the past 8 contests. He's now up to 12 goals on the season as well after Wednesday's OT tally. Football, the AFC Championship game looming in roughly 45 hours. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs visiting Baltimore, which will deploy tight end Mark Andrews for the first time in more than 2 months. And FC-wise, the 49ers battled the Lions, and you will be able to hear said broadcast on the 28th beginning at 5:30 on 101 ESPN. The Sports Center update was brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
You're in the Fast Lane, coming to you live from the Car Shield studio on 101 ESPN. It's time for the Fast Lane's biggest question of the day.
That's right. Time for the biggest question of the day. What do you got, Bradford?
Gentlemen, we're not going to dress this one up. We're getting straight to the point because Sunday is Championship Sunday this weekend. You've got Lions and 49ers. You have the Ravens as well as the Chiefs. Straight up, who's prevailing? What is the Super Bowl matchup we're going to see and why?
All right, so let's start with the first game. Let's start with the first game. This is the AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
And we can throw out some, we'll do the spread too, okay? Because the point spread for Ravens and Chiefs is Ravens minus 3.5. 49ers are now minus 7.5 against the Lions.
Okay.
I like the Ravens. I know it's scary to to lay points against Patrick Mahomes when he has been so good as an underdog. I forget what the exact number is, but like straight up. Even forget against some spread. He's just been incredible straight up in games when he's an underdog.
What do you call that number, 3.5? Is that, what was the term?
It's a hook. Well, you're dealing with a hook.
And what is that? Because
of the half.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, so 3 would be, it's off a key number.
Key number. That's
Key number 3, field goal. You feel like, 3, that's
7.
Okay, win by a field goal.
Yeah.
When you throw the half on there, the hook,
you got to win by 4.
It's off a key number. But couldn't you see? I mean, couldn't you see 24-20? Could you see 27-20, 27-24?
I could.
3?
I feel like 28-24 feels 4 touchdowns for Baltimore feels like a lot, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why either. I could see 28-24.
I could see that as well, but that's 4 touchdowns.
Right.
I feel like you're going to kick a couple of field goals. So I would say somewhere 27-21, 27-24, which is scary because, again, that's 3.5. You could win or you're going to lose.
Right.
But I think Baltimore wins the game. And I'm going to say 27-24.
So you like Kansas City plus the 3.5?
No.
You're hedging here.
I don't.
I like the Ravens to win straight up, but give me the points.
Yeah. I don't. I just think Baltimore wins the game. They could win somewhere between 6 and 3. I feel like Justin Tucker will have a couple of kicks. Mm-hmm. I want to say Justin Tuck. His big tail ain't kicking
if he's kicking for Baltimore, I don't like him anymore.
I don't like it either. But, they'll have a few kicks, few field goals go in. So I like Baltimore to win the game at home.
Here's my thing on Kansas City, too. And, again, I realize it. Like, this is one of those where you start talking about the Ravens, and then Mahomes has a Mahomes game, and you're like, you're the dummy that went against him. I get it. This is scary. But when you look at Kansas City, we've talked about this before. Buffalo couldn't get off the field against them last week, and it still came down to a missed field goal.
Yeah.
And we could talk about the McCall Hardman play, but if Buffalo doesn't fake the punt, we're still kind of in the same area.
Yeah.
I thought Kansas City dominated Buffalo's defense last week. They won by 3. Miami.
I didn't feel like they dominated them.
I know. You and I were
I didn't feel like that was a domination.
Kansas City barely punted. I'm just talking about.
Buffalo didn't either.
No. I'm talking about Kansas City against Buffalo's defense.
Okay. Yeah.
But that even plays into the point, though, right? So even in a game where Mahomes was great and Kelsey was great and Pacheco was great, you still won by 3. Why? Your defense really didn't tackle that well.
Yeah.
You're banged up a little bit now on that side of the ball. You're banged up along your O-line. This is not Miami, who was done. They were dead on arrival
when they got off the plane, man.
Exactly. You go back even to forget the Chargers game in Week 18. That was you weren't playing anybody. But Cincinnati, you needed 687 Harrison Butker field goals to win that one against a backup quarterback, and Jake Browning had been playing better. But regardless, so it's an Arrowhead.
Yeah.
And you needed Cincinnati. If you watched that game, they gave Kansas City everything.
Yeah.
Aiden O'Connell didn't complete a pass in the second half.
They won.
Beat the Chiefs at Arrowhead.
Yeah.
New England, you're playing Bailey Zappi, won by 10 in that one. Game probably shouldn't have been that close. You lost to Buffalo. You lost to Green Bay. This has been Kansas City's week in and week out since December.
Yeah. It
There's
feels like
something
it stops
off
now.
here. Yeah.
It feels like it stops now. Like they've been getting away with it, skating by.
This Baltimore team, by far, is going to be the best and most complete team that they have faced since Green Bay in Week 13.
I saw a stat the other day said Baltimore was 6-0 during the regular season versus opponents that were 500 or that were above 500.
They beat the crap out of teams.
And beat them by 26 something points.
I saw a similar statistic.
Yeah.
They're like they won by 13 something against playoff teams.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a juggernaut.
Yeah.
Baltimore team. So I got the Ravens. I got them winning. I got them covering, and I'll sit there and watch Mahomes throw for 350, and I'll have my tail between my legs come Monday.
Hey, ain't going 350. Got enough receivers catching that many passes.
Very well could. You never bet
point.
against Mahomes, except in this instance. Hey, you guys already hit the nail on the head. At some point, the other shoe is going to drop, and Kansas City has been riding that line for weeks, even you could say for months on end. Too many question marks as far as Mahomes and his supporting cast. Not having Tooney, in case you missed it earlier in the program, Tooney is not going to be there. He will be inactive on Sunday. In addition to that, Pacheco having the toe issue, maybe hindering, compromising his ability to be able to cut and mosey the ball upfield. I also think, however, that there is just enough in the tank, not only from Mahomes, but from an improvisational standpoint. I would not say this about any other quarterback in the league, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson included. Enough in his massive array of skills to keep this one close. Now, would I pick Kansas City straight up? Absolutely not. But for Baltimore to win by a touchdown plus, I think that is too far of a bridge to cross until it is actually proven to us. I also think that Kansas City, Spagnuolo, his unit, they find a way to be able to get enough stops around the red zone to make this close into the fourth quarter. So Kansas City against the spread, Baltimore outright.
He did the thing.
He did what I did.
He did what you did. Come on, guys.
Baltimore's
Come on,
going to
guys.
win. I just don't know how much they're going to win by.
CD, I'm going to tell you something right now. You do not you do not join the text chain over the weekend. If the Ravens start rolling, you're like, see, this is what I was telling you guys.
No,
I'm the one laying the points here.
You are.
Come on, man. All right, NFC Championship game.
All right, give me Baltimore -3.5.
Now we're talking.
Yes, we'll see.
There we go. That's my brother.
Staying put because I don't have to see you guys on Monday.
All right, NFC Championship game, 5:30 kickoff between the Lions and the 49ers. I saw your face when I mentioned the spread is now up to 7.5 at some books.
I'm looking at FanDuel right now. It is 7.5. The Lions are plus 7.5. I'm at a loss for words. I'm taking the Lions. I don't take them to win. Anthony. This one is an intriguing game because, again, how is Deebo Samuel really? He's going to play. I know he's going to give it the old college try, right? He's going to go out there and give you everything he has.
Yeah.
But if that shoulder he couldn't finish the game last week. So that lets me know that it's banged up. If you can't finish a game, you're usually hurt.
And they were losing.
Yeah, you're
game.
injured when you can't finish a game.
Good call.
And so to come back, here's the thing about practicing this week. He hasn't had any contact on that shoulder. He hasn't run into anybody. He probably has a red jersey on, meaning do not touch. Just staying away from all contact. If they're even in pads. Anthony, I don't know at this point if they're even wearing pads for practice at this point. So you won't know how well Deebo Samuel is in this game until he takes his first hit. And the Detroit Lions are going to try to hit him. They're going to try to make life hard on him to test him to see if he's able to go. If he's unable to go or play at his he probably won't be in the backfield running the football. That's one less thing you have to worry about in terms of getting hit. So with that being said, I'm probably going to take the Detroit Lions to win.
Outright?
Yeah.
Hey, now.
All right. Crazy.
Oh, no, well, I don't think you're crazy. Bold. But I want to get your pick on record here because you're limping here.
I know. I really am. I hurt my knee. I was standing here.
You're always hurting your knee.
Would
you play football?
Yeah, a little bit.
Begrudgingly.
Yeah. You know what? No, just give me the Lions plus 7.5. I'll take the points.
All right.
You talked me out of it. You talked me out of it. You talked me into the other one, and you talked me out of this one.
I'm not talking
Even if
you
they
in or
win,
out of
I
anything.
still
I'm
win.
just asking. I'm just trying to get, listeners are like, what did Carey pick?
Yeah,
they want
plus
to know your
7.5.
pick. All right. Bradford.
I hate being a copycat here. Nonetheless, let's break it down a little bit. This feels like a classic George Kittle spot to me. I think in terms of removing some of that pressure, the onus from Deebo Samuel, whatever he is able to give you, and obviously the availability of Samuel, it changes everything. It changes the way in which a Brandon Ayuk is deployed, his responsibilities too. With all things being considered as equal, I'm very eager to see whether Dan Campbell and the Lions are able to be as impervious in the face of the pressure, the stakes, as they have been all season long. And what I mean by that is early in the game on first and second down, defensively, are they going to sell out? Are they going to blitz Brock Purdy? Are they going to try to make him as uncomfortable as possible, knowing they have to force a couple of turnovers on that side of the ball to really stay in this game? Because if you're San Francisco, that front four is going to be able to stiffen, I believe, against David Montgomery. As you said earlier in the show, Carey, it's going to come down to a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs making some interstellar type plays. Can he get out in space? Can he give you that game-breaking performance? It feels in a lot of ways like a backdoor cover of sorts. To me, the number is too big now at 7.5. Detroit against the spread, but San Fran advances to the Super Bowl.
So I've been saying how Detroit's going to keep this game close since last week. When I saw Carey's face after I said the 7.5 and Carey got giddy, I realized what my play is. Because, Carey, I think that a lot of people are going to have that same reaction or have had that same reaction of, this is way too many points, which indicates to me that we've got a blowout Central here. San Francisco's going to roll.
Could be.
Ooh. 3 players are going to roll. You mentioned one of them, Bradford. It's going to be George Kittle. George Kittle's going to have at least one tutty, if not multiple tutties. Brandon Ayuk is going to have over 100. The corners for Detroit are not good. So Ayuk is going to go nuts. I don't think it's a Deebo Samuel game regardless of if he's healthy. I think McCaffrey's still going to have a big game. And the unfortunate Lion, and I know a lot of people kind of jumped on the Lions bandwagon here, so they hate me now. But I think the Lions' storybook season comes to an end when Jared Goff throws not 1, not 2, but 3 picks.
3?
Yeah.
Trio.
One to Fred Warner.
All right.
Who I know you're not a big fan of.
No,
I know he's the best
Fred.
defensive.
Listen, let me tell you something.
I'm just kidding.
Fred Warner came downhill on Najee Harris the first week of the season. I said, oh, yeah.
Fred Warner's awesome.
He is awesome.
So, Niners, minus 7.5. Ravens, Niners, SB.
All right.
There you have it.
That's a compelling matchup.
Yeah, certainly.
We only have 500 weeks to talk about it.
According to the NFL script, that's exactly what they said was going to happen.
That's right. All right. We've got, yeah, exactly. One of the scripts. One of the scripts that I've seen multiple scripts now from the NFL scripted party.
You said, these people know.
See? They said it was 49ers Ravens.
I had it right here the whole year.
Meanwhile, the other guys like, see, I told you it was going to be Lions Chiefs. Fade or follow, bet the board, criticisms, compliments next on 101 ESPN.
The Blues play on ESPN. The wait is over. Tonight, Blues and Kraken. Pre-game at 8, puck drop at 9. Shoots, he scores! This is your exclusive home for Blues hockey. 101 ESPN.
Hey, if you've been watching the NFL playoffs from the sidelines, there's still time to get in the game with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers bet this Saturday's conference championship games with $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. When you place your first $5 bet, FanDuel has so many ways for you to pick up the W. You can follow our picks. We just made our picks, Anthony. You like
I like the
49ers to roll this weekend.
I like the two favorites. I know. Ravens minus 3.5, 49ers minus 7.5 for me. No. You did the old hedge thing.
I did.
Yeah. That's all right. So you can follow our picks or you can fade our picks. It's up to you. And you know what? You probably should fade us. Get started with $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just visit FanDuel.com/fast. Again, FanDuel.com/fast. And you can join today. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and present in Illinois. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. I always tell you to go down to Auto Center's Nissan Herculaneum, and I put my money where my mouth is because we in the Stalter household, we just got a pre-owned Pathfinder that we love, and we got it from Auto Center's Nissan Herculaneum. Unbelievable financing options available that couldn't come at a better time with where rates are right now. No money down, no payments for 90 days, 0% APR for up to 5 years. It's all available at Auto Center's Nissan Herculaneum. Plus, enter to win a brand new Polaris ATV and grab a hot dog just for stopping by. No purchase necessary. That's all there at Auto Center's Nissan Herculaneum. One spot. They've got over 700 vehicles on the lot, pre-owned and new Nissans. They give you the free lifetime complimentary warranty that comes with new Nissans, the 30-day return promise, and you're going to absolutely love the service as well at Auto Center's Nissan Herculaneum. So when you head out there, tell them Stalter sent you. Let them set you up in your brand new ride. It's Auto Center's Nissan Herculaneum.
.101 ESPN has your chance to score free tickets to Creed on Friday night, August 9th at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. Creed are reunited and bringing the Summer of '99 tour to town this August with special guests Three Doors Down and Finger 11. Get all the ticket details and get entered to win those free tickets for the show right now, either at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 mobile app.
This is the Fast Lane, driven by Scrap Mart Metals Recycling on 101 ESPN. It's time for FanDuel Fade or Follow on the Fast Lane.
Brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more.
Everyone follow us.
No fade.
Money, 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 money.
It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Time for Fade or Follow. Wild Bill joins us for a second straight week because Wild Bill cashed last week easily. Well, I mean, it was tied at halftime. I shouldn't say it necessarily easily, but
easy.
Second half, the Ravens rolled.
Finished the game.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, Wild Bill, you cashed with the Ravens minus the 9.5. How you doing this week?
I'm good. I was a little nervous last weekend, but I knew they pulled out.
Well, good. We're gonna go. Not right back to the well. We're actually going to go with a Lamar Jackson prop play. And Carey and I were kind of going through the plays, and we're going back and forth on it. We wound up with Lamar Jackson's passing prop, which right now is 210.5. So we're going to take the over Lamar Jackson passing yards. So he's got to throw for at least 211 passing yards on Sunday.
Because Anthony hates unders.
I do. I don't want to. Nobody wants to sit there and watch a game and play for an under.
Yeah, you want it to be exciting when it's at 198. You want a 12 or 13 yard pass.
Exactly. Exactly. You can. You know what you can do? You can cash an over in the first half. You know what you can't do?
Cash an under.
Cash an under until the damn game's over.
That's right.
All right. So Wild Bill, what would you like to do?
I will. You guys had the over, so I'm going to follow that. I say he throws for 273.
Oh, I like it.
273. Okay, Lamar.
Dub.
All right. Well, all you need is 211 of that. But if you do, you're going to win. You're going to win another $50 of FanDuel's money. You're going to be back next week. Sound good?
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Yep.
Thank you. All right. Excellent. There you go. That's Fade or Foul. Have a great weekend, Wild Bill. All right. Time to bet the board now.
Let's do it.
Here on 101 ESPN. We already got Jamie's pick. Jamie has the Panthers tonight. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because remember, he started talking about the Kings and the Avalanche, and then he must have changed his mind. Then he went Florida Panthers.
Okay.
Who do you want, Carey?
I've been struggling with this basketball, but you're not gonna like this pick. So what?
Lions.
I am going to go Dallas Mavericks versus the Atlanta Hawks tonight. The under is 246.
Ah, jeez.
Kyrie Irving isn't playing tonight, I don't think. He's got a sore wrist.
Nice.
So if he does play, or a sore thumb, maybe whack that one time and get him up out of there. We got to go with the under. The Dallas Mavericks and the Atlanta Hawks.
Well, have fun with that.
It's going to be terrible.
Have fun watching that one.
It's going to be terrible. Miserable, I tell you. And they're going to score 80 points in the first, 80 in the first half.
No, this was a dumb pick. All right, Bradford for Andrew Marsh, since he didn't send in his.
NFL indeed. Let's go to the NFC Championship game. I will handle a player prop here, gentlemen, and I'm focusing on the incredibly talented running back first round draft pick, mind you, for Detroit, Jahmyr Gibbs. We talked about earlier in the hour just how critical he is going to be to help Detroit keep this one even remotely close. Right now, the number is set at 3.5 as far as receptions. He has recorded 4 in each of the past 2 games, and whether Detroit is in the game throughout or playing from behind, he is going to get enough dump offs to be able to have ample opportunities to roam free. And keep this in mind, San Francisco this season has allowed the 5th most receptions to opposing running backs, usually because the 49ers are so far out in front. I will roll with Gibbs to go over 3.5.
Okay, there you go. All right, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm just going with the Ravens minus 3.5.
Cover.
Just the Ravens cover, minus 3.5.
This sounds like a solid pick there, Anthony.
You would think, but
probably what I should have done.
I've gotten cute with the prop plays.
Yeah.
Like last week, I did some prop. I had the 49ers over 30.5 points. And
you got to 27 or 24.
Should just went with the Ravens, who I liked. So, yep, going with the Ravens, minus 3.5. And then I'll sweat it out as Patrick Mahomes does his thing. But there you go. There's bet the board. Bradford, you got any criticisms and compliments?
We have a lot of comments.
You know what? Sorry, before you go, yeah.
I didn't forget.
You didn't forget. You were looking at me. I'm like, he's looking at me for some reason. Carey.
Yes.
Download the podcast if you'd like.
Oh, yeah.
After the show, if you missed the show today, download the podcast.
Definitely thought you were waiting on me to tell you something.
No. You're like, I don't know what you missed. No, if you missed anything from today's show, you can download the podcast at 101ESPN.com or your 101 ESPN mobile app, all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. There it is. All right, go for it, Bradford.
All right, let's talk a little bit, guys, as well. I know the new routine of the show as far as awarding some stars as well. The people want their 3 stars at the conclusion of the program, do they not?
Yes.
So we have just a couple of minutes left. I am going to ever so humbly give the 3rd star to yours truly for the reason of not spending a full minute and a half to give you the biggest question of the day. So star number 3.
Nice. There you go.
It's to me.
Give it to himself.
Humble brag.
Wow. and that one of all things to give it to. All right.
Yeah. Moving along, number 2, we're going to give that to Jamie all the way out in Seattle for sidestepping what could have been a very thorny issue about running the clock. I will say nothing more about that.
No.
He listened carefully enough. He listened. He used his ears, right?
Yes.
And number 1 today goes to the esteemed Carey Davis for a dominant showing.
Nice.
In the gauntlet.
Yeah,
You
no
ran
kidding.
roughshod
Thank you.
over the competition. And Anthony, one of the things that Marsh did tell me before the show was that right now we have to kind of keep you wanting in that regard. We have to keep you sharp.
With the stars?
Yeah.
He's coming.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
Well, I got
it
the
happened,
I got
happened
the
the
one,
day he
but
wasn't here.
I wasn't here.
Yeah, you didn't get to celebrate.
I didn't. Well, listen, I didn't finish the show, so.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I appreciate you guys giving me
We
the star.
gave you
anyways.
the star. We clapped for you, and then we.
Thanks.
We're like,
Where is he?
He's not even here.
He's in my bed. Trying not to puke.
Everybody was, where's Stalter? I don't know. When did he leave?
I'm glad I made that such an impact on you guys. Hey, we've got plenty of action coming up for you over the next 3 days. You've got Blues and Kraken pregame tonight starting at 8. And, of course, we got the game for you. The puck will drop at 9. Florida State, North Carolina. Basketball pregame at 12:30 tomorrow. Got some NBA as well. Nuggets 76ers with the pregame starting at 4. Blues and Kings on Sunday. Pregame starting at noon. And we have the NFC Championship game between the 49ers and Lions kickoff at 5:30. That'll do it for us. For Bradford Bruns, thank you for filling in today for Andrew Marsh. For Jamie Rivers, for Carey Davis, I'm Anthony Stalter. Everybody have a great weekend. Thanks for listening. See you.
Blues hockey can be heard exclusively on 101 ESPN. Get the info you need before and after every Blues game with the First Community pre- and post-game show driven by Clement Ford. And catch every Blues home game from the First Community Terrace.
Bring out the